Chapter 1281 Battle Stage, Points. When Xuanxu reached the ancient world, when the major forces were moving, Yi Tian had already entered the Battle World Tower. When he was outside the War Realm Tower, he had already heard several invincible Dao ancestors describe the situation inside the tower. However, when he really stepped into the gate of the Zhanji Tower and entered the Zhanji Tower, he couldn't help but be shocked. The rules here are very powerful, far more powerful than the outside world. Even if he is already a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things, and his strength is even more than the half-step ancestor of the perfection level of the normalization realm, he still can't compete with the rules here, and he is afraid that he can't exert 1% of his strength. Of course, not only him, but other people entering here as well. Yi Tian mobilized and used it, and hit the void at will, but found that even the space here is difficult to shake, let alone break the space. And such a scene is almost impossible to happen in the outside world. The battlefield tower is really extraordinary. It is indeed the seventh holy relic in the dark forbidden area. Yi Tian commented secretly, and when Yi Tian entered the Zhanji Pagoda, the eternal Dao ancestor followed closely into the Zhanji Pagoda. After stepping inside the Zhanji Pagoda, Yi Tian learned through understanding that the Zhanji Pagoda is divided into layers. The Taoist ancestors from the first layer to the ninth layer are on the first floor, the half-step domain ancestors are on the first floor, and the domain ancestors and those supreme beings are on the first floor. However, with Lin Tian's current strength, it is difficult to reach this level. If my cultivation can reach the level of the ancestors of the domain, I can enter the upper level. Now, I can only enter the level of the ancestors of the half-step domain. However, with my current strength, even if I can enter the ancestors of the domain, I'm afraid I won't gain much. Now my strength can be said to be very powerful in the half-step ancestor realm, and there are few people in the half-step ancestors in the ancient world who are stronger than me, said maybe you can get a huge opportunity in the battlefield tower. Yi Tian secretly said. At this time, the eternal Dao ancestor who followed Yi Tian into the Zhanji Tower also appeared inside the Zhanji Tower. Myriad Fa Daozu, this battle world tower is really extraordinary. Eternal Dao ancestor couldn't help but be shocked after walking around. At this time, Yi Tian and Yang Dao ancestor both saw that in the middle of their lair, there were countless spaces, each space had a battle platform, and on one of the battle platforms, there were two ordinary half-step domains. Zhu is fighting, and the battle has entered a white-hot stage. Around the fighting platform, there are many ordinary half-step domain ancestors and all things realm half-step domain ancestors watching the two ordinary half-step domain ancestors fight. Even, among the onlookers, Yi Tian also discovered a few half-step ancestors who were in the one realm. Of course, Function Mountain Lord is also among them. Only a few of the half-step ancestors who were watching were known to Yi Tian, who were from the ancient world, and the rest of the half-step ancestors belonged to other taboo worlds. The invincible Daozu who came in before said that there are other creatures in the War Realm Tower. Now it seems that many of these creatures are stronger than mine. 1. Eternal Daozu said. His cultivation realm is only an ordinary half-step domain ancestor, and his strength is not high. In front of so many half-step domain ancestors, the eternal Taoist ancestor is very self-aware. Half of these creatures are at the half-step ancestor level of the realm of all things, and even the half-step ancestor level of the normalization realm, and there are many, and the depths of the dark forbidden area are indeed very prosperous. Yi Tian said after observing. For example, in the Xuanxu to the ancient world, there are only 5 or more half-step ancestors of the normalization realm, and around the battle platform, there are tens of thousands of ancestors of the half-step field of the normalization realm watching. Even if they are in the realm of the gods, there will not be so many ancestors of the half-step realm. These half-step ancestors of the unification realm must have come from the depths of the dark forbidden area, and I am afraid that only a few have come from here like him. What Wanfa Daozu said is very true. Eternal Dao ancestors agree with Dao. He also noticed the realm of the half-step ancestors around the battle platform. Soon, Eternal Daozu discovered that those who entered the War Realm Tower had a black tower mark on their right hand. He and Lin Tian also have a black tower mark on their right hand. At the same time, they saw the rules of the competition through the black tower mark on their hands. They can use their awareness to sign up for battles through the black tower mark on their right hand, and earn points through battles. In the battlefield tower, the use of points is very large. It is also very precious. Because these points can be exchanged for some precious inheritance, and can also be used to buy some resources. You must know that in the Xuanxu to the ancient world, a precious inheritance has always been unavoidable, and in the War Realm Tower, there are many precious inheritances which can be exchanged with points. Of course, if you want to exchange inheritance and resources, you need a lot of points. Even so, it gave hope to these half-step ancestors. If they get a precious inheritance suitable for them, maybe they will have the hope of making their strength and cultivation even further. It is even possible to step into the realm of the ancestors. For a while, the eternal Dao ancestor was full of enthusiasm. Relatively speaking, Yi Tian is very calm, but Yi Tian is also very excited about these inheritances and resources. In terms of his current inheritance and resources, his cultivation base can only enter the ordinary domain ancestor level at most. If he wants to further his cultivation base and strength, he must obtain other inheritance and resources. It can be said that the inheritance and resources in the War World Tower are the greatest opportunity he has seen so far. For this trip to the Zhanji Tower, Yi Tian is bound to win. It's a pity, in order to exchange precious inheritance and resources, the points needed are too many, Manuo Zhao, and the more precious inheritance, the more points are needed. Eternal Daozu regretted. After they enter the War World Tower, everyone has an initial point of 100 points. Of course, they can also sacrifice a lot of resources in exchange for points, but the points are too precious. Even if they sacrifice a lot of forbidden strange objects, it can only be exchanged for a small amount of points. It is a drop in the bucket to exchange these points for precious inheritance. After all, the Daoshan realm and the Xuanxu to the ancient realm are still too backward, and there are not many precious treasures. The main thing is that they don't look down on ordinary inheritance and treasures, otherwise, they can get a good inheritance if they spend all their resources. But they are looking at those top inheritances, and naturally they spend more points. If you want to get a lot of points, there is only one channel, that is to win points through the battle platform. Chapter 1282 The Strength of the Taoist Ancestors in the Depths of the Dark Forbidden Area. Of course, the battlefield tower is not unconditional for the creatures to exchange points for inheritance or resources. When they exchange the points for inheritance or resources, the battlefield tower will draw a certain handling fee. Yi Tian, Eternal Daozu, Jinchen Daozu and many other half-step ancestors have decided to participate in the battle and gain points by winning the battle. But Yi Tian is not in a hurry to sign up. His current cultivation is the half-step ancestor of the realm of all things. Although his strength can be compared to the half-step ancestor of the perfection realm, he is not the real ancestor of the half-step domain after all. And there are tens of thousands of half-step ancestors of the Unity realm around the fighting platform, and there are many half-step domain ancestors of the Unity realm who are stronger than him. However, Eternal Dao Ancestor does not have such a good concentration as Yi Tian. Seeing that the ordinary half-step domain ancestors on the battle platforms have already decided the winners and losers, the winners get the corresponding bonus points, while the losers leave the field and lose the points. In the battlefield tower, the way to earn points is obtained through battle challenges. Someone will post a challenge on the battle list, with self-defined points as a reward. Someone will take the challenge, and the loser will lose the points to the winner. What's interesting is that death in the Zhanji Tower is not real death. The Zhanji Tower will protect these people, so they can fight with confidence and don't have to worry about falling. Therefore, there are a lot of half-step ancestors who have posted challenge news on the battle list, and there are countless half-step ancestors to accept the challenge. After all, death here is not a real death, nor will it damage one's strength and cultivation, and one can also gain combat experience from the battle, thereby enhancing one's strength. If you win the challenge, you can get points. If you lose, you just lose the points, and there is no harm to yourself. Such an opportunity is really rare. Moreover, once you win the challenge, you can get a lot of points, and if you accumulate enough points, you can exchange inheritance or resources in the battlefield tower. Yi Tian checked the battle list and found that a large number of half-step domain ancestors posted challenge information, some with 10 points as a reward, and some with 100 points as a reward. There are even some half-step domain ancestors who release challenge information with hundreds or even thousands of points as rewards. Yi Tian took a look and found that most of the challenge information released with 10 points were mainly ordinary half-step domain ancestors, and only accepted the challenge of the same half-step domain ancestor. Most of the challenge information released with 100 points is mainly based on the ancestors of the half-step domain of all things CJFI. As for the challenge information released with hundreds or even thousands of points, it is mainly the half-step ancestors of the unified realm. However, in today's battle stage, most of the ordinary half-step ancestors and the half-step ancestors of the realm of all things are fighting, and there are very few half-step ancestors who are in the unity realm. On this floor of the half-step domain ancestor, there are 100 battle platforms. Eternal Daozu saw that the two ordinary half-step ancestors in several battle platforms had already decided the winner. The half-step ancestor who won the points looked excited, and the half-step ancestors who lost the points basically ended in death, left the battle arena. However, these made Eternal Daozu's eyes even more eager. Wanfa Daozu, do you want to take on a challenge too? Eternal Dao. With Yi Tian's strength, it can be said that he directly crushes any half-step ancestor of the realm of all things below the half-step ancestor of the normalization level. If you take a few challenges, you can earn a lot of points. On the other hand, although the strength of the ordinary half-step ancestor level is considered to be the top, it is still not strong, and it is not necessarily a battle that can be won. However, such an opportunity is unavoidable, and Eternal Dao ancestor must try it before he is willing. Therefore, after the selection, he chose a challenge with a reward of 10 points to accept. The opponent was also an ordinary half-step domain ancestor, and the other party also agreed to the challenge. Since you have already accepted the challenge, let's try it out first. Yi Tian said indifferently. He wanted to observe it again, and besides, the challenge points released now still didn't catch his eyes, so Yi Tian didn't want to shoot. Okay, I'll go first. The words of Eternal Dao ancestor fell, and people entered the battle arena. Soon, an ordinary half-step domain ancestor appeared in front of the Eternal Daoist ancestor. Both were determined to win. I am a person from the bone-grinding city in the depths of the dark forbidden area, I don't know which force you belong to. Asked the opponent of Eternal Daozu. Dark forbidden bone-grinding city. Eternal Dao ancestor does not know the situation in the depths of the dark forbidden area at all, nor does he know any bone-grinding city. It is precisely because he does not understand that there is no fear or worry in his heart. But he is also very clear that the inheritance practiced by the ordinary half-step ancestors in the depths of the dark forbidden area is much better than the inheritance of Xuanshu to the ancient world in the realm of the gods. Much worse. But strength does not necessarily depend on the level of cultivation. For example, Yi Tian is only a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things, but his real combat power is many times stronger than that of many ancestors of the half-step domain of the normalization realm. Therefore, since he has already accepted the challenge, he naturally has to go all out, in case the opponent is weak. After all, no matter how prosperous the place is, there are also weak practitioners. Why so much nonsense? If you want to fight, fight. As soon as the voice fell, Eternal Daozu launched an attack first. And it was the strongest blow. And when Eternal Daozu launched the attack, the other party also moved. Bang! The other party used a fire-based Forbidden Dao technique and turned into a Forbidden Fire creature. The Forbidden Dao technique of Eternal Dao ancestor was broken in an instant, even the defensive Forbidden Dao technique was broken, and the Forbidden body was penetrated. Crack! Eternal Dao ancestor's body was cracked and severely injured. Unexpected. The opponent struck again and directly killed the Eternal Dao ancestor. Almost in an instant, Eternal Daozu lost the challenge points. I didn't expect the opponent to be so weak. I thought the opponent was so strong, I didn't even dare to report which faction it belongs to, it seems that it came from a small place. The half-step domain ancestor who killed the Eternal Daoist said proudly. With the help of the Eternal Dao ancestor's fleshly body, the three battles world tower reunited. At this time, he was dark and embarrassed. He thought that his strength was not weak at the half-step domain level, but he didn't expect that he was killed with just 1 or 2 moves. Although the body was beaten up in the Battle World Tower, it was considered death, but the difference in strength was too great. Yi Tian naturally saw what happened on the battle stage. Although the strength of Eternal Dao ancestor is not the highest in Xuanshu to Ancient Realm, his strength is considered to be the top among ordinary half-step domain ancestors. Unexpectedly, he would lose so easily. Sure enough, the depths of the dark forbidden area is the real prosperous area for cultivation. An ordinary half-step ancestor can directly crush the Eternal Daoist ancestor, almost comparable to the weaker half-step ancestor of the realm of all things. I have to say that the depths of the dark forbidden area are really mysterious. This also made Yi Tian understand that their Dao ancestors in the Dao Mountain realm were too weak. Chapter 1283 Jinshin Daozu, Defeat. Wanfa Daozu, I didn't expect the ordinary half-step ancestor in the dark forbidden area to be so powerful, I lost. Eternal Daozu said discouraged. He deliberately chose an ordinary half-step domain ancestor with ordinary cultivation as his opponent, thinking that he could easily win the points in this game, but he didn't expect that it was just an opponent and the opponent would kill him with 2 moves. Among the ordinary half-step ancestors from the Xuanxu to the ancient world, his strength is considered to be the top, and even if he loses, he will not lose so badly, at least he has the strength to fight back. But when facing the previous ordinary half-step ancestor from the depths of the dark forbidden area, he seemed to be facing a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things. Now, Eternal Daozu couldn't help but rejoice. Fortunately, he met this ordinary half-step ancestor from the depths of the dark forbidden area inside the War Realm Tower. Even death is not a real death. If he met this ordinary half-step domain outside the War Realm Tower, the ancestor of the step domain, then it is really going to fall. After all, the resources in the ancient world are still too scarce, and the inheritance is relatively weak and completely incomparable in the depths of the dark forbidden area. Yi Tian said, after all, the purpose of entering the War Realm Tower this time is to win the challenge to obtain points, which can be exchanged in the War Realm Tower, precious inheritance or resources. Picking a slightly weaker opponent is necessary. And how to observe the strength of the opponent can be seen from the opponent's record. If Black Tower Mark chooses the challenge of a half-step domain ancestor, you can first observe the opponent's record. If you often win, then your strength must be very strong. Eternal Dao Ancestor agrees with Yi Tian's point of view very much, and he should carefully watch the opponent's record on the challenge information of the Black Tower Mark, and then choose his opponent. Just a moment, Yi Tian saw another familiar figure on the battle stage. Jin Chen Daozu also accepted a challenge at this moment. And the other party also agreed to Jin Chen Daozu's challenge. Jin Chen Daozu is a half-step domain ancestor of the reunification realm. The challenge opponent he accepts is also a half-step domain ancestor of the reunification realm. On the battle platform of the Battle Realm Tower, so far, most of the ordinary half-step ancestors and the half-step ancestors of the realm of all things end up challenging, and there are very few half-step ancestors who end up in the unified realm. Now, the 2 half-step ancestors of the unified realm stood on the battle platform, immediately attracting the attention of many onlookers. I am the Daozu of Shuiyang in Tianyu City, I don't know where your excellency is from. Jin Chen Daozu's opponent asked. Although there are tens of thousands of half-step field ancestors in the depths of the dark forbidden area, he has no impression of Jin Chen Daozu. It is obviously from other people. The place. Deep in the dark forbidden area. Jin Chen Daozu's eyes immediately became cautious. Mysterious to the ancient world. Jin Chen Daozu snorted coldly and took the lead in launching the attack. Since he already knew that his opponent was someone from the depths of the dark forbidden area, Jin Chen Daozu did not dare to leave behind his backhand, and his shot was the ultimate move. After all, after some observation, he has deeply realized that the half-step ancestors in the depths of the dark forbidden area are much stronger than their Xuanxu to the ancient world. And he has just broken through to the half-step domain ancestor of the reunification realm. Even if the other party has just broken through to the half-step ancestor realm of the reunification realm, Jin Chen Daozu did not dare to take it lightly. Jin Chen Daozu immediately cast the defensive taboo technique, and activated the offensive taboo technique with all his cultivation bases. HMPH, Xuanxu reaches the ancient world. I haven't heard of it before, it seems that it's just a little known place. Even if I cultivate to the half-step ancestor of the reunification realm, my strength is far inferior to me. Shuiyang Daozu snorted coldly, even when he used the lightning taboo Dao technique. When Shuiyang Daozu performed the thunder-type forbidden Taoist technique, the entire battle platform immediately erupted with gusts of lightning and thunder. A thunder-type forbidden creature suddenly appeared and controlled the audience. Attacked Jinchen Daozu. Boom, the entire battle arena is filled with thunder and lightning that contains forbidden power. Afterwards, these thunder and lightning gathered together. Slash to Jinchen Daozu. Jin Chen Daozu's complexion changed greatly. From the forbidden power that came from beheading, he felt an unprecedented threat. When Jin Chen Daozu's forbidden power slashed at the opponent's lightning forbidden power had already been cut in front of him. He directly broke his forbidden defense. A humming sound fell. Jin Chen Daozu's body was directly hit by the forbidden power of the thunder system, and the body was constantly cracked, and the injury was not light. Ask for flowers. However, the forbidden Dao technique performed by Jin Chen Daozu also slashed in front of his opponent at this moment. Boom, Shuiyang Daozu's defense taboo technique cracked. But it didn't shatter. The taboo body also offset part of the remaining prestige. So he hardly suffered any injuries. The two kept fighting, and Jin Chen Daozu was completely crushed, unable to fight back at all. After a while, Jin Chen Daozu's body cracked, he was judged to be defeated, and he moved out directly. Sometimes, it takes a long time for the half-step ancestors to fight, and there are not a few who have fought for tens of thousands of years. But the Battle World Tower can't let you fight for so long, so once your body is broken, or you fight for a month, the outcome will be determined. At this time, Jin Chen Daozu's body was shattered, and this challenge of Jin Chen Daozu ended in failure. Fortunately, in this challenge, Jin Chen Daozu did not choose a 100-point challenge, but found a challenge with 50 points as a reward, so he only lost 50 points. Under the action of the Battle World Tower, Jin Chen Daozu's fleshly body condensed again. However, if a battle loses 50 points, Jin Chen Daozu is also very painful. Jin Chen Daozu fought with the half-step ancestors from the depths of the Dark Taboo, as if it was the prelude to the battle of the half-step ancestors in the homeland. Next, there are many more ancestors in the half-step domain next challenge. Of course, Yi Tian could also see that most of the half-step ancestors who ended up in the reunification realm had just broken through to the half-step ancestor realm of the reunification realm. It is estimated that some old-fashioned half-step ancestors of the normalization realm generally know the strength of others, so they will not easily end the game, and no one will accept the challenge of those powerful half-step ancestors of the normalization realm. After all, points are not Chinese cabbage, and no one will easily give them to others. And in the battles, most of them ended with the victory of the ancestors from the Dark Realm half-step domain. From this point of view, the half-step domain ancestors of the same level, the half-step domain ancestors from the Xuanxu to the ancient world, are not the opponents of the half-step domain ancestors in the depths of the Dark Taboo. The difference between the two is really huge. From this, it can also make people more aware of the prosperity and mystery in the depths of the Dark Taboo. Chapter 1284 Yi Tian has shot. Between moments. Yi Tian saw two more familiar figures on one of the battle platforms. And these two are from the Dragon Shadow Palace Master and Lei Jia Palace Master from the Tiandi Palace. The Dragon Shadow Palace Master and the Lei Jia Palace Master are both the ancestors of the half-step domain of the reunification realm, and the challenged opponents they accept are also the ancestors of the half-step domain of the reincarnation realm. Just like Jin Chen Daozu, the challenges they accept are all challenges with 50 points as a reward. It seems that these two are also the same as Jin Chen Daozu, and they want to try the strength of other half-step ancestors of the normalization realm. The result was obvious, they also lost the battle. Most of the half-step ancestors in the War Realm Tower came from the depths of the Dark Forbidden Area, and only a few half-step ancestors came from one by one. And those realms are very powerful, stronger than the realm of the gods, with a large number of ancestors. The cultivation civilization is very prosperous, and even 497 has a connection with the depths of the Dark Forbidden Realm. Moreover, their War Zone Tower projection was not born naturally, but the War Zone Tower projection sub-tower obtained by the ancestors of the strong domain into the depths of the Dark Forbidden Zone. The Zanji Tower in the Xuanxu to the ancient world is a very rare naturally born projection Zanji Tower. I have to say that this is the luck of the ancient world. Even in the future, the half-step domain ancestor from the Xuanxu to the ancient realm can get a lot of benefits by communicating with the half-step domain ancestor in the depths of the Dark Forbidden Domain. The Zanji Tower is a channel from Xuanxu to the ancient world to understand a higher level. If you can get a lot of points in the War Realm Tower, then for Yi Tian, it can be said to be the biggest opportunity that can be encountered today. Exactly at this time, the Dragon Shadow Palace Master and Lei Jia Palace Master of Tiandi Palace, as well as Jin Chen Daozu all came to Yi Tian. Ancestor of the Tao of all Dharma. Ancestor of the Tao of all Dharma. The ancestor of all Dharmas. 1. The three half-step ancestors of the Oneness Realm all greeted Yi Tian one after another. How did the three of you get on the battle stage? Yi Tian's gaze swept across the three people's faces, and the three people's faces were filled with anger and anger. After a moment of silence, someone finally spoke up. Don't mention it, the three of us lost too badly. The strength of these half-step ancestors from the depths of the Dark Forbidden Area is really terrifying. We are not their opponents at all. It can be said that when facing them, there is no fighting back. Although it was embarrassing to admit that his own strength was poor, it was even more embarrassing to be beaten on the battlefield without the ability to fight back. Not only that, those half-step ancestors who came from the depths of the Dark Forbidden Realm are too arrogant, and they are too contemptuous of our half-step ancestors who came from the mysterious realm to the ancient world. It can be said that they directly treat us as dust. Come step on. They defeated us on the battle platform. After all, it was a formal battle. Even if we lost, we would have no complaints. Even mocking us, this tone really makes us unable to swallow. Jin Chen Daozu looked angry, and his eyes were full of anger. Wanfa Daozu, we are mysterious to the ancient world. Among the half-step domain ancestors who came to the Zanji Tower, currently only you and Function Mountain Master have the highest strength. The half-step ancestors in the depths of the dark forbidden area competed for 1 or 2, and also rectified our name in the ancient world. I wonder if you would like to take a shot. The Lord of the Dragon Shadow Palace said. Although their Heavenly Emperor Palace had a conflict with Yi Tian, at this moment they could only encourage Yi Tian to end. If Yi Tian wins, he can justify the name of Xuanxu to the ancient world. If Yi Tian loses, the worst result is the same as them. Yi Tian naturally can't ridicule them because of the things in the Battle World Tower. However, they would not think that Yi Tian would lose easily. After all, Yi Tian's strength is too terrifying, and now he is afraid that it is stronger than the top half-step ancestor of the unified realm. They are not sure that there is no such thing as Yi Tian's half-step ancestor in the dark forbidden area, but even if there is, it is impossible to have many. Because, the possibility of Yi Tian losing is very small. But now a lot of time has passed, so they also want to know whether Yi Tian's strength has improved again. In the last battle, the Palace Master Longying and the Palace Master Lei Jia hated Yi Tian to the core. They have held it for tens of millions of years, and their strength has gone further, but they still dare not do anything to Yi Tian. Idea. But these tens of millions of years, they haven't seen Yi Tian make a move, and they don't even know what kind of situation Yi Tian's strength has reached. You must know that in the last battle, Yi Tian's cultivation was only an ordinary half-step domain ancestor, so he could force the two of them back and save Ouyang Zhuor. Now, Yi Tian's cultivation has broken through to the realm of all things. How can this not shock the two? Although the thought of revenge is disappearing, it does not prevent them from observing Yi Tian's current cultivation and strength. Anyway, as long as Yi Tian makes a shot, whether he wins or loses, it won't do them any harm. That being the case, they are of course willing to encourage Yi Tian to take action. Hearing this, he was looking for the eternal Dao ancestor who was suitable for him to challenge his opponent on the battle list and looked at Yi Tian with anticipation, and hoped that Yi Tian would make a move. After all, how many of them lost too much in the battle arena? At this time, someone needs to find a face for them, and also for Xuanxu to the ancient world. And Eternal Dao Ancestor is quite confident in Yi Tian's combat power. Since you all asked me to take action, it's okay for me to take a shot. Yi Tian agreed to come down under the watchful eyes of several people. And his gaze was towards the Function Mountain Master who was also watching the battle around the battle platform. The Function Mountain Master looked at the battle platform with hot eyes, as if he was trying his best to endure and not want to shoot. Function Mountain Lord is just a clone, looking at him like this, even if he enters the War Realm Tower, he will not shoot. After all, once shot, it is very difficult to recover. Moreover, once a clone dies, the Battle World Tower may not condense the body for him. Hearing that Yi Tian agreed, Jin Chen 5.8 Dao Ancestor, Dragon Shadow Palace Master and others immediately cheered up. Yi Tian's cultivation at this time is the half-step ancestor of the realm of all things. Currently, if he matches his opponent, the Zanji Tower will only match him with the half-step ancestor of the realm of all things. Yi Tian glanced at the half-step domain ancestors of the realm of all things with a reward of 100 points, and directly asked the Zanji Tower to match him with an opponent at will. Regarding Yi Tian's behavior, none of Jin Chen Daozu and others objected. After all, strength is everything. Yi Tian is very confident in his own strength. In an instant, the battlefield tower has already made an appointment to agree to the challenge. By the way, he is also a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things. Seeing that the other party has entered the battle arena, Yi Tian also stepped into the battle arena. Chapter 1285 One Move to Kill. In the battle arena, Yi Tian and the opponent are on both sides. Bai Yuan Daozu, Yi Tian's opponent, Bai Yuan Daozu, said his title lightly and stopped talking nonsense. He had full confidence in whether he could defeat Yi Qingtian. He has broken through to the half-step domain ancestor of the realm of all things for endless years, and his strength is high. Even in the depths of the dark forbidden area, his strength is considered to be among the top. In the battle on the battle platform, he has won more than 1,000 points. On the other hand, Yi Tian, the cultivation realm has not reached the peak of the realm of all things, and it looks relatively unfamiliar. He is not the powerful half-step ancestor of the realm of all things in the Zanji Pagoda. Therefore, Bai Yuan Daozu didn't care about Yi Tian. He guessed that Yi Tian should have just entered the War Realm Tower not long ago. Therefore, he did not put Yi Tian in his eyes at all. The ancestor of the Tao of 10,000 laws came from the Xuanxu to the ancient world. Yi Tian also said lightly. Hearing Yi Tian's answer, the contempt on Bai Yuan Daozu's face was even worse. Ha ha ha, mysterious to the ancient world. There seemed to be several people from the Xuanxu to the ancient 29 world today, and they were beaten by people in the depths of our dark forbidden realm. The name from the mysterious and ancient world is unknown. People from such a small place don't know how they got into the War Realm Tower. People from a small place like you can infiltrate the War Realm Tower and think that they are powerful when they enter the realm of all things or even the realm of unity. You dare to challenge those in the depths of our dark forbidden area. I have to say that you are really brave. However, it would be nice to have more people like you. Boy, are you here to give me points? Bai Yuan Daozu burst out with a burst of laughter, and many people around the fighting platform also looked at Yi Tian contemptuously. You talk too much, Yi Tian said lightly, with a very disapproving expression. Humph, boy, how dare you speak out? You are so fearless, just like you, I can kill 10 of them with one move. Bai Yuan Daozu threatened to say that he did not take Yi Tian in his eyes at all. Really, like you, I can kill 10 with one move. Yi Tian said coldly, I'm not ashamed. Boy, see how I teach you today. I'll teach you how to write the word, death. Daozu Bai Yuan scolded sharply. So, when you came to the battle arena, you came to fight. Yi Tian asked back, boy, you pissed me off today. Even if you beg me now, I won't let you go. Daozu Bai Yuan looked annoyed. He didn't expect that a person from a little-known place would dare to ignore him. 8. He wants to teach Yi Tian a lesson. This is exactly what I want to tell you. Today, I will also teach you a lesson. If you are not from a small place, your strength is weaker than you. Yi Tian said coldly, even if the half-step domain ancestor of the realm of all things in the dark forbidden area, he can easily defeat him. After all, his current strength is comparable to the half-step domain ancestor of the top-level realm. Once the power of the extreme way is exerted, it is stronger than the half-step domain ancestor of the perfection and perfection. Haha, it's just you, you are also worthy of it. It's too full of words. Today, I will also teach you a good lesson. You people who come from such a small place as the ancient world are not worthy of our darkness. The opponent of the half-step Yuzu in the depths of the forbidden area. Daozu Bai Yuan said contemptuously. At the same time as his voice fell, he even directly used all the cultivation bases to cast the water-based taboo technique. He didn't even use the defensive taboo technique. He was confident that he would be able to kill Yi Tian with one move. For Yi Tian's attack, he did not pay attention to it at all. He was confident that with his own body, he would be able to counteract Yi Tian's attack. After all, he is famous for his powerful flesh in Quyang City, which is deep in the dark taboo. Between moments, the battle platform is filled with the power brought by the forbidden Taoism of the water system. The stretch of water occupies the entire battle platform. Every inch of the water is filled with great power. It seems that Yi Tian can be swallowed up at any time. The power of this forbidden Tao technique is quite good. It is the famous forbidden Tao technique of Bai Yuan Daozu, the domain of the water god. It can not only suppress opponents, but also attack opponents. Cut. With the order of Daozu Bai Yuan, countless threads of water rushed towards Yi Tian with the aura of destroying the sky and destroying the earth. At the moment when Bai Yuan Daozu launched his attack, Yi Tian also moved. Dark Cold Dao Spear. Yi Tian snorted coldly, and also displayed the forbidden Dao technique Dark Extreme Dao Spear. For the half-step domain ancestors of the same level of the realm of all things, Yi Tian disdains to use the power of the extreme way to kill them. Boom. After Yi Tian launched the Dark Pole Spear, a sky-killing spear appeared in his hand. As soon as this sky-killing spear came out, the entire battle platform was shaken. Cut. As Yi Tian's voice fell, the heaven-slaughtering spear slashed forward. Boom. The space shook, and this blow in the War Realm Tower shook the space vaguely. What a terrifying force. Puff puff. The countless threads of forbidden water of Daozu Bai Yuan collapsed instantly, and the realm of the water god of forbidden Taoism was also broken. But when Yi Tian sacrificed the heaven slaughter spear, Bai Yuan Daozu immediately noticed something was wrong. Yi Tian's is really what he thinks, low level. Instead, it made him feel like he was facing a half-step ancestor who was at the top level of the unification realm. 497. How is this possible? Daozu Bai Yuan couldn't believe it, that such a small realm from Xuanxu to ancient realm could give birth to such a powerful half-step realm ancestor Yi Tian. Now, Daozu Bai Yuan regrets it. He shouldn't underestimate the enemy. He even used his whole body cultivation base to display a defensive Forbidden Dao technique. Forbidden Taoism Tiangong battle armor is generated in one thought. The War Realm Tower cannot wear taboo defensive weapons. Except for one attacking taboo weapon or half-field device, other weapons and treasures cannot be used, so they can only be resisted by taboo defensive Taoism. When the defensive taboo technique was successfully formed in front of him, Yi Tian's attack was also in front of him. Boom! A loud bang exploded in front of Bai Yuan Daozu. The defensive taboo Dao technique Tian Gang battle armor was directly slashed by the sky-killing spear. In an instant, the heaven-slaughtering spear slayed the body of Daozu Bai Yuan. Daozu Bai Yuan has always been known for his strong physical body in the dark taboo Qiang city, so we can see how powerful his physical body is. However, all of this is simply vulnerable in front of the sky slaughter spear. Boom! The sky-slaughtering spear slashed directly into the body of Daozu Bai Yuan, and shredded Dao ancestor Bai Yuan's body directly. One move to win or lose. Just one move. Daozu Bai Yuan was beheaded by Yi Tian. Chapter 1286 Show Strength, Win Streak. One move to win or lose. Yi Tian only used one move to crush the body of Daozu Bai Yuan. It's so scary. However, in the battle arena, there are also some half-step ancestors who can defeat their opponents with one move, so Yi Tian's battle this time did not cause much repercussions. Only a part of the people who paid attention to Bai Yuan Daozu paid attention to Yi Tian because Yi Tian defeated him with one move. After all, Daozu Bai Yuan's strength is not bad. In the depths of the dark forbidden area, the strength of Bai Yuan Daozu can also be ranked among the top. In the Zanji Tower, Bai Yuan Daozu also challenged quite a few half-step ancestors of the realm of all things, and successfully won the points of those half-step ancestors of the realm of all things. From this, it can be seen that Bai Yuan the strength of Daozu is strong. However, it was such a powerful Daozu Bai Yuan, who was defeated by Yi Tian with one move. After Bai Yuan Daozu's body was torn to shreds by the sky-slaying spear, his body was quickly reunited under the action of the Battle World Tower. Daozu Bai Yuan, who had recondensed his physical body, still maintained a shocked expression on his face. He didn't understand why the half-step domain ancestor from a small place had such a powerful strength. Even in the depths of the dark forbidden area, there are not many ancestors of the realm of all things that can kill him in one move. All of them are geniuses who are famous in the depths of the dark forbidden area. When he selected opponents in the battle arena, he deliberately avoided these powerful half-step ancestors of the realm of all things. This time, he just accepted Yi Tian's challenge when he saw that the opponents that the Zanji Pagoda matched him were not the half-step ancestors of the realm of all things that he needed to avoid. On the contrary, when Yi Tian reported that it was from Xuanshu to the ancient world, he secretly rejoiced that he could easily get points again. But he didn't expect that Yi Tian would be able to kill him with one move. And, when he faced Yi Tian's attack, it was as if he was facing a top-level normalization half-step domain ancestor. Bai Yuan Daozu believes that his perception is not wrong. So what the hell is going on here? Daozu Bai Yuan, who had recondensed his body, looked at Yi Tian with a complicated look. Next, he had to observe Yi Tian's strength carefully. Yi Tian ignored the complex gaze of the loser on the battle stage. However, although he defeated Bai Yuan Daozu with one move, he still recognized the strength of Bai Yuan Daozu. If Bai Yuan Daozu's opponent was not himself, he would not have lost so badly. The strength of Bai Yuan Daozu, in terms of the ranking of the half-step ancestors of the realm of all things from Xuanshu to the ancient world, is invincible except for me. Even the top half-step ancestors of the realm of all things are not his opponent. Yi Tian secretly said, and the half-step ancestor of the realm of all things, like Bai Yuan Daozu, can be said to have thousands in the depths of the dark forbidden area. This is the difference between the mysterious realm and the dark forbidden realm. At the same time, Yi Tian is also a little more curious about the depths of the dark forbidden area. Afterwards, Yi Tian saw that his points had become 200, and he was very satisfied. Next, Yi Tian directly looked for an opponent in the challenge with 200 points as a reward, and directly asked the Zanji Tower to match his opponent. Anyway, for Yi Tian, as long as he is a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things, he can easily defeat him. As for who the opponent is, he doesn't need his special attention. That is the confidence of a strong man. Afterwards, the Zanji Tower matched Yi Tian with an opponent, and the opponent also accepted his challenge after checking Yi Tian's record. However, as for this new opponent, Yi Tian is still effortless, and instantly kills him with one move. 200 points in hand. Now, after playing 2 games, Yi Tian has 400 points. Afterwards, Yi Tian continued to let the Zanji Tower match his opponents. This time, Yi Tian matched a challenge with 400 points as a reward. This time, Yi Tian still killed the opponent without any effort. He won 400 points for the opponent. It can be said that Yi Tian has 800 points in an instant. Next, Yi Tian did not withdraw from the battle stage, but continued to match the opponent with the Battle World Tower. Just a pity, he originally wanted the Zanji Tower to directly match an opponent who was rewarded with 800 points, but unfortunately, at the half-step ancestor level of the realm of all things, there was no opponent who dared to challenge with so many points. Up to 500 points as a reward for the challenge. To this, Yi Tian expressed regret. Next, the Zanji Tower continued to match Yi Tian with several opponents. Most of these opponents were challenges with 100 to 500 points as rewards. Yi Tian ignored the challenges that were rewarded with less than 100 points. The Zanji Tower matched Yi Tian with several opponents. No matter how powerful the opponent was, they were all killed by Yi Tian. After a few battles, Yi Tian got 3,700 points. 3,700. Although Yi Tian had no choice on this one, Yi Tian chose, rest for a while. 3,700 points, this number is deeply stimulating to Bai Yuan Daozu, who has been paying attention to Yi Tian. I didn't expect this half-step ancestor of the ancient world to be so powerful that I won't lose in his hands. With his strength, even in the depths of the dark forbidden area, he can still be ranked in a good position. Quote. Daozu Bai Yuan secretly said. He rolled over many battles on the battle platform, and only won 1270 points. And Yi Tian won 3,700 points in just a few games. This is the difference. In this regard, Bai Yuan Daozu had to swallow his unwillingness. Of course it's good, since Yi Tian entered the battle stage, the Dragon Shadow Palace Master, Lei Jia Palace Master, Jin Chen Daozu, Yang Yang Daozu, and Function Mountain Master have been paying attention to his Li Dahao battle. After personally going down to the battle arena and fighting the half-step ancestors in the depths of the dark forbidden area, they also saw the strength of those half-step ancestors in the dark forbidden area, and the strength of those half-step ancestors is also very powerful. Anyway, they are not the opponents of those half-step domain ancestors at all. Even if they knew Yi Tian's strength was strong, they didn't expect that Yi Tian would win so easily when fighting against these people. In these tens of millions of years, I think my strength has grown a lot, but I didn't expect that the strength of Daozu Wanfa was even more terrifying to the extreme. Compared with Daozu Wanfa, I am still too weak. He is afraid that there is a trick that will hit me hard. Strength. 1. The Lord of the Dragon Shadow Palace sighed with emotion. It seems that we must not provoke him easily in the future, otherwise, when he enters the level of the Unity, the great formation of the Heavenly Emperor Palace will not be able to protect us. The Palace Master of Thunder Tribulation also said. The Dragon Shadow Palace Master nodded, fully agreeing with the words of the Thunder Tribulation Palace Master. Chapter 1287 Enter the list of all things. 2nd. After Yi Tian took a rest, he chose a group of half-step ancestors of the realm of all things to challenge, but most of them refused because they could see Yi Tian's record. Although the number of battles was not many, all of them were victorious. What? The half-step ancestor of the realm of all things with a 100% win rate, how can ordinary people dare to fight? Therefore, Yi Tian asked for many challenges from the ancestors of the half-step domain of the realm of all things, but they did not accept them. Only a few ancestors of the half-step domain of the realm of all things agreed to discuss with Yi Tian. Of course, the half-step ancestors of the realm of all things here are only a few. Most of the ancestors of the realm of all things are in retreat or outside the war zone tower. No one has been challenging here. Also, many are not always challenging. For example, there are some lists in the battlefield tower, and there are 3 lists at the half-step ancestor level. Ordinary list, all things list, and normalization list. There are only 1,000 people on each list. The number of people on this list is very small, but the strong people on each list are almost invincible existences of the same rank. Each of them is a real peerless genius, and can even kill the enemy by leaps and bounds. People. Almost all of these geniuses came from the depths of the dark forbidden realm, and it was difficult for such geniuses to be born in the realm. These geniuses rarely enter the Zanji Tower, because the same level is almost invincible, who will come to the Zanji Tower to challenge. Moreover, although the Zanji Tower is magical, it is not necessarily something awesome in the depths of the dark forbidden area, and the ancestors of the half-step domain do not necessarily have to come to the Zanji Tower. Therefore, in the battlefield tower, the geniuses on these lists rarely appear, and you can't find anyone if you want to challenge them. Certainly, if it replaces their rankings, maybe they will enter the War Realm Tower after the outside world knows. And after Yi Tian challenged again and again, almost no one could beat him. The Zanji Tower actually ranked Yi Tian in the 987th place on the Zanji Tower's list of all things. This is only a preliminary evaluation. No matter how powerful Yi Tian is, he has never defeated a genius on the list of all things, and he has never defeated a half-step ancestor of the normalization realm, so it is exaggerated to be able to rank such a high ranking. When Yi Tian's name appeared on the list of the realm of all things, it instantly attracted the attention of a large number of half-step ancestors. Wanfa Daozu, who is this person, and why did he suddenly enter the list of all things? I don't know, never heard of it. I found out clearly, it seems that the War Realm Tower recently projected a sub-tower in a realm, and some half-step ancestors of that realm came in, and this Wanfa Daoist is the realm of all things half-step ancestor of that realm. Impossible, a realm, and a backward realm that has only got in touch with the depths of our dark forbidden realm. Such realm can also give birth to geniuses who can enter the list of all things realm. I don't want to believe it either, but it's the truth. I checked his record, all of them were victories, and according to what the half-step ancestors of the realm of all things who were defeated said, they were all killed by one move. Their strength is extremely terrifying. I am afraid that they have the combat power of the Unity realm. It is inevitable to have the combat power of the One realm. If you can enter the list of the realm of all things, which one does not have the combat power of the One realm? Many half-step ancestors of the realm of all things who have the combat power of the One realm have not been able to enter this list. There are many people discussing Yi Tian, and for a while, the name of the ancestor of the Wanfa Dao was passed down to the Zanji Pagoda. The Daoshan realm and the Xuanshuji ancient realm are also remembered by many people. There are very few realms that can be remembered by many half-step ancestors, and the Daoshan realm is now one of them. Unexpected, a half-step domain ancestor of the reunification realm appeared in front of Yi Tian. This person's cultivation base is very high, and has reached the great perfection state of the half-step domain ancestor level of the normalization realm. I am afraid that it is not far from the domain ancestor level. Such a unified state can break through at any time and become a superior domain ancestor. Moreover, this is also a half-step ancestor of a female normalization realm, wearing a purple CJFI color armor to wrap her body. Even with the aesthetics of the Daoshan realm, she is also a beauty. Wanfa Daozu, hello. This beautiful Taoist ancestor said hello to Yi Tian. Who are you? Yi Tian asked deliberately. In fact, by copying the talent, he already knew the name and title of this beauty, but he still had to ask. Mingyu Daozu. Beauty Daozu introduced himself. Yi Tian took a look at her talents and found that she had at least 6 taboo talents, so she copied it. In fact, the half-step ancestors with forbidden talents in the battlefield tower are no longer rare, at least 1% of the number. Therefore, after he came to the battlefield tower, he copied a lot of forbidden talents. Once he leaves the War Realm Tower, he can integrate the countless forbidden talents. At that time, his forbidden talent will be raised to an incomparably terrifying level. At that time, he can easily create a forbidden Dao technique, and even easily cultivate the forbidden Dao technique to the extreme level. Daozu Mingyu, what are you looking for from me? Yi Tian asked. Mingyu Daozu asked. Wanfa Daozu, you shouldn't have joined any forces in the depths of the dark forbidden area, right? No. Yi Tian nodded. Hearing Yi Tian said no, Mingyu Daozu was a little overjoyed, and quickly said, Wanfa Daozu, do you mind to chat? I can tell you about the situation in the depths of the dark forbidden area. This is probably what you urgently want right now. Knowing the information, the general half-step domain ancestors don't know much about the situation, but I come from a large trust force, and the situation I know is absolutely comprehensive. Okay. 1. Yi Tian agreed. Afterwards, Daozu Mingyu took Yi Tian into an independent space. Before, Yi Tian only paid attention to the battle platform, and did not understand the independent space at all. Seeing Yi Tian seemed a little confused, Mingyu Daozu introduced, the Zanji Tower is not such a big place. There are still many independent spaces in the Zanji Tower, and the major forces have spent a lot of points from the Zanji Tower to buy the independent space. The independent space can be used as a base for major forces, or as a shared area to operate some businesses. For example, the independent space we are going to is a shared independent space, and everyone can enter. There are many cities in it, and each city has a large number of restaurants, places of practice, and places of enlightenment, etc. Can even exchange forbidden ways here. After the introduction of Dao Zhu Mingyu, Yi Tian had a general understanding of the independent space. Soon, they came to the Yiyu building and sat down in one room. Chapter 1288 The 10 Great Sacred Doors. Entering this independent space, Yi Tian's copying talent covered it and found at least 1 million half-step ancestors. There are so many half-step domain ancestors in an independent space here. How many half-step domain ancestors are there in the entire War Realm Tower? Yi Tian was surprised. He knew that he had completely underestimated the number of half-step ancestors here before, thinking that the half-step ancestors on the battle platform were only all, but he didn't expect it to be just the tip of the iceberg. First of all, let me introduce formally, I come from a saint in Zhenyuan Holy Land in the depths of the dark forbidden area. Mingyu Daozu introduced himself. Zhenyuan Holy Land. Yi Tian has never heard of this force, and doesn't know much about the power of this force at all. In fact, he has never heard of the forces in the depths of the dark forbidden area, and he has very little understanding of the situation there. It's normal that Wanfa Daozu does not understand. Let me introduce the strength of our Zhenyuan Holy Land. Our Zhenyuan Holy Land has several invincible domain ancestors, many powerful domain ancestors, and a large number of top domain ancestors, elite domain ancestors and ordinary domain ancestors. The ancestors have hundreds of thousands of half-step ancestors, as well as hundreds of millions of Taoist ancestors. As for the creatures under the Taoist ancestors, we do not have them in the Zhenyuan Holy Land. The entry standard of our Holy Land is the Taoist ancestors. There is no chance to survive in the dark forbidden area. Mingyu Daozu introduced. So powerful. Yi Tian was shocked. The Daoshan realm currently does not have a domain ancestor, and the God Heaven realm seems to be very powerful before him, but the top domain ancestor of the God Heaven realm can be called the top combat power. There is not even a supreme power ancestor. I did not expect that a Zhenyuan Holy Land in the depths of the dark forbidden area has a large number of supreme ancestors. Doesn't it mean that the Zhenyuan Holy Land can send a supreme ancestor casually to sweep through the realm of the gods? No wonder people in the dark forbidden area look down on the practitioners in the realm. The gap between the two sides is too big. For the forces in the dark forbidden area, the realm is a small place, an ant-like place. If I hadn't entered the realm of all things the list, I am afraid that Mingyu Daozu will not give me a high look. Yi Tian thought to himself. Is Zhenyuan Holy Land the strongest force in the dark forbidden area? Yi Tian asked. Mingyu Daozu was embarrassed for a moment, and immediately said, naturally not. The depths of the dark forbidden area refers to an area with extremely rich resources, which can be regarded as the most prosperous area of the dark forbidden area, so it is called the dark forbidden area by the people of the realm. In the depths of the domain. In fact, most of us call this area the dark sanctuary. In the dark sanctuary, there are 10 supreme holy gates, 72 holy places, thousands of sects and hundreds of thousands of giant cities. Even any giant city can easily sweep through countless realms. Basically, a strong person who can build a giant city in the dark sanctuary must have the strength of the strongest ancestor, otherwise he is not qualified to build a city at all. Dark sanctuary, so powerful. Yi Tian was completely shocked. 10 supreme holy gates, 72 holy places, thousands of sect gates and hundreds of thousands of giant cities, what a terrifying power. Even the weakest giant city can sweep across the realm of the gods, let alone the realm of the gods. Compared with such a weak boundary in the Daoshan boundary. At this time, Mingyu Daozu said in surprise, there are so many forces in the dark sanctuary, and there are hundreds of millions of half-step ancestors. Although not all half-step ancestors have entered the War Realm Tower, they have at least entered 40 to 50%, and then among the many ancestors of the realm of all things, there are only 1,000 ancestors of the realm of all things who can enter the list of the realm of all things. You can imagine how terrifying the competition is. Every genius who enters the realm of half-step ancestors is like a genius. The evildoers, almost all come from the major holy places and the top 10 holy gates. But you are a half-step ancestor of a region, but you have broken into the list of all things. Do you know how incredible you are now? So it is. Yi Tian didn't expect to cause such a sensation all of a sudden, but he wasn't afraid of anything. You are in the mysterious realm to the ancient realm, and in the War Realm Tower, you should not be able to die. Could it be that those people can still go to the mysterious realm to the ancient realm? Daozu Mingyu, shouldn't people die in the Zanji Tower? Yi Tian asked. Ha ha ha, of course I can't die. Mingyu Daozu chuckled lightly. Don't worry, the Zanji Tower is a sacred object of the Zanmen, one of the top 10 holy gates, and the Zanji Tower is very special and will not kill people. It will only protect people, otherwise the major forces will not dare to enter the War Realm Tower. 1. Daozu Mingyu wants to recruit me for Genuan Holy Land. Katakana middle dot for flowers. Yi Tian asked. Yes, I wonder if you are interested. Daozu Mingyu asked. This, quote, Yi Tian hesitated. If he was just a genius in the realm of all things on the list of all things, he would probably join Genuan Holy Land. But the key point is that he thinks that his future achievements far exceed those of the so-called geniuses on the list of all things, and there are better forces. Why does he have to join Genuan Holy Land? What he wants to join more is the 10 Holy Gates. After pondering for a while, Yi Tian said, Mingyu Daozu, thank you for telling me so much information, but I want to join the 10 great sects. You want to join the 10 Holy Gates? Mingyu Daozu was not angry, just surprised. The 10 Holy Gates seem to be only one level higher than the Holy Land, but the strength is too great. Any one of the 10 great sacred sects can easily destroy a sacred land, and even if all sacred lands unite, they cannot defeat a sacred sect. The top 10 Holy Gates are not easy to enter, and their external recruitment threshold is very high. For example, the genius of the list of all things, the general genius of the list of things, they don't look down on it at all. The genius of the list of things cultivates very fast, and they can't stay at the level of the world for long. Therefore, the list of all things is updated more frequently, and there are too many geniuses on the list of all things in the major holy places and holy gates. If you want to join the top 10 holy gates, you must get the top 3 places in a certain issue of the list of all things, or other special places. Only if you have the potential, can you have the opportunity to join the top 10 holy gates. But this is too difficult, and you only have more than 900 people on the list of all things. Mingyu Daozu explained. What she meant by this was very clear, that is, to tell Yi Tian that you cannot enter the 10 great sacred gates. Who doesn't want to go in the top 10 holy gates? She also wanted to enter the top 10 holy gates, but she was not qualified, so she could only choose to join the Genuan Holy Land. However, no matter what she said, Yi Tian made it clear that he would not join Genuan Holy Land for the time being and would try to join the 10 great sacred sects. Wanfa Daozu, if you can't join the holy sect, then choose our Genuan Holy Land. Mingyu Daozu said. It is good. Yi Tian nodded. I have to say that Daozu Mingyu's attitude is really good. If it was someone else, I'm afraid he would have been angry long ago. Chapter 1289 The Fight Against the List of All Things. Although he didn't join Genuan Holy Land under the enticement of Mingyu Daozu, but since he came to the restaurant, Yi Tian still tasted the deliciousness of the dark forbidden area. After some negotiation, Yi Tian also deeply realized the sincerity of Mingyu Daozu, who wanted to invite himself into Genuan Holy Land. However, for Mingyu Daozu's invitation, he can only apologize. After coming out of the restaurant, Mingyu Daozu took Yi Tian to hang out in this space. At this moment, Yi Tian reminded through the Black Tower mark of the War Realm Tower that someone had issued a challenge to him, which was specially designed to challenge him. Silver Eye Daozu. Yi Tian looked at the challenger's name displayed on the Black Tower mark. Silver Eye Dao Ancestor. Silver Eye Holy Sun. Mingyu Daozu exclaimed. Silver Eye Saint. May 13th, Sun. Yi Tian looked at Daozu Mingyu suspiciously. Precisely, Yinmu Daozu was the 1000th all-world half-step ancestor on the list of all things, known as the Silver-Eyed Sun. Yinmu Daozu has a pair of silver eyes, so he has this Dao name. Yinmu Daozu is the Holy Son of the Danghai Holy Land, one of the holy places. You already know that the half-step ancestors who can enter the list of all things are geniuses of the Dark Holy Land. The Silver-Eyed Holy Sun can enter the list of all things, even if he is the last one. You can see that how powerful he is. Mingyu Daozu explained. Before, Yi Tian heard the surprise from the words of Mingyu Daozu. Precisely, the original Yinmu Daozu was the last in the list of all things, because you were suddenly ranked in the list of all things, he was naturally squeezed out. Mingyu Daozu said lightly. Yi Tian nodded to indicate that he understood. The Silver-Eyed Holy Sun was able to enter the list of all things before, and his strength can be said to be very powerful. He has a record of beheading the half-step ancestors of the Homecoming Realm before. And he did not kill the ancestors of the half-step ancestors of the Homecoming Realm once or twice. It is precisely because he has the strength comparable to the half-step ancestor of the Homecoming Realm that he entered the list of all things. Now, because of you, he was squeezed out of the list of all things, and he must be very angry. And you entered the list of all things, it's just because of his winning streak in the Battle World Tower. He didn't play against the real half-step ancestor of the Unified Realm or the half-step ancestor on the list of all things. He must be naturally dissatisfied with you, and this is the first time he is against you. Challenge. Mingyu Daozu said. A pair of eyes sparkled, and he was very much looking forward to Yi Tian's reaction. I see. Yi Tian naturally understood. Although he was in the Xuanshu to the ancient world, he had already defeated the half-step domain ancestor of the returning one realm. But not in the battlefield tower. Because he has never played against the half-step domain ancestor of the homecoming realm or the half-step domain ancestor on the list of all things in the Zanji Tower, those half-step domain ancestors in the Zanji Tower are skeptical of his strength. Even Daozu Mingyu, who wanted to invite him to join Junyuan Holy Land, doubted Yi Tian because he didn't see Yi Tian's true strength. However, other people's opinions have no influence on Yi Tian. Would Daozu Wanfa be willing to accept the challenge of the silver-eyed sun? Mingyu Daozu asked expectantly, although Yi Tian had fought many times in the battle stage, but no one could make Yi Tian exert his full strength in the battle, and they were all killed by Yi Tian in one move. Now that the silver-eyed sun has made a move, with the strength of the silver-eyed sun, he must be able to let Yi Tian deal with it with all his strength. It also allows her to re-evaluate Yi Tian's strength. Since the silver-eyed sun has challenged me, why should I not fight? Yi Tian said lightly. After the introduction of Mingyu Daozu, he has been able to have a general understanding of the strength of the silver-eyed sun. However, the strength is comparable to the half-step ancestor of the normalization realm. What arrogance! His current strength is comparable to that of the top half-step domain ancestor. When using the power of the extreme way, his strength is even stronger than the half-step domain ancestor who is at the ultimate level of perfection. He is comparable to some domain ancestors. Power. It is very simple for him to defeat Yinmu Daozu. When Yi Tian finished speaking, he left this independent space. Seeing this, Mingyu Daozu also left the independent space. How could she miss such a lively battle between the masters on the list of all things? Yi Tian came to the fighting platform, and saw a silver-eyed blue-clothed man standing on the side of the fighting platform, looking at the people around him with a proud expression. He was dismissive of the favors of the surrounding half-step ancestors. Are you the Taoist of Wanfa? 1. When Yi Tian appeared on the battle stage, Yinmu Daozu frowned and looked very disdainful. Although he ranks last in the list of all things, as long as he can enter the list of all things, he is a symbol of genius in the Dark Holy Land. He has always been proud of being on the list of all things. But I didn't expect that not long ago, a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things, who emerged from a little-known place, unexpectedly removed him from the list of all things because he won several battles in a row in the Tower of War. Squeeze it out. How can he bear it? So after learning this news, he rushed to the War Realm Tower as soon as possible. I want to teach Yi Tian a lesson. It is also necessary to let Yi Tian understand that his half-step ancestor from a small place cannot be compared with the genius of their Dark Holy Land. I am the Taoist of Wanfa. Yi Tian nodded lightly. Sure enough, it's you. I am the silver-eyed Holy Son of the Holy Land of the Sea in the Dark Holy Land. Since you are here, let's fight. Silver-eyed Daozu said proudly. As for Yi Tian, 5.8 in the process of waiting for Yi Tian to come, he has already had a general understanding of his strength through the half-step domain ancestor of the Battle World Tower. The ability to kill many top all-world half-step ancestors in the Dark Forbidden Area in one move is enough to show that his strength is good. Therefore, Yin Mo Dao ancestor did not dare to despise Yi Tian too much. However, being able to enter the F-domain ancestor of the list of all things is a dark holy thing. Do this. He even defeated the half-step domain ancestor of the unification realm several times. This is the half-step domain ancestor in the depths of the Dark Forbidden Realm, not the half-step domain ancestor of the normal realm. So much so that although Yinmu Daozu thinks Yi Tian can be his opponent, he thinks Yi Tian is definitely not his opponent. Chapter 1290 The Holy Body of Silver Gang. The Holy Sun who was hanged and beaten. On one of the battle platforms, Yi Tian and Yinmu Daozu came to power, and more half-step ancestors came, and many of them were half-step ancestors in the normalization realm. After all, this is a battle between two strong men on the list of the realm of all things. Although Daozu Yinmu was squeezed out of the list of the realm of all things, most people still recognize his strength. Therefore, they are naturally very interested in the competition between the two powerhouses on the list of all things. Some Banbu Yuzu even started gambling in private, and many people bet on Yinmu Daozu to win. Because Yinmu Daozu is a real genius after all, and he is also a holy son. He has not come to the Zanji Tower for a long time, and his strength must be much stronger than before. Therefore, the 1000th place on the list of all things is not necessarily his real strength. As for Yi Tian, He didn't have a great record, he just defeated some top half-step ancestors in the realm of all things, and he didn't even beat a half-step ancestor in the realm of unity. Moreover, Yi Tian came from a small place, so there must be no strong inheritance in 29 cards. Such a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things may be lucky enough to enter the list of the realm of all things. In terms of rankings, the list is not necessarily accurate. Therefore, they are not very optimistic about Yi Tian. Soon, the battle began. As soon as he came on stage, Yinmu Daozu performed a rare spiritual forbidden Dao technique. I saw a gray light flashing in the eyes of Daozu's silver eyes. Boom, the soul world descended, instantly suppressing Yi Tian's soul. If it is an ordinary half-step ancestor of the realm of all things, just this move will directly shatter the opponent's soul. Therefore, even if the combat power is relatively high, the half-step ancestor of the realm of all things, who is not strong in soul, will also be defeated by the silver-eyed Daozu. However, Yi Tian is the inheritance of the extreme way, whether it is the body, the soul or the forbidden power, it has reached the extreme level. The extreme way represents the ultimate, so his soul is also extremely powerful. Although Yi Tian was limited to inheriting knowledge and did not create a soul-type taboo technique, it did not mean that Yi Tian could not stop this move. Boom, Yi Tian's aura exploded, holding the sky-killing spear and hitting this soul world with a single blow. He will tear the soul world apart with absolute power. Boom, the soul world collided with Yi Tian's soul. Instead of tearing Yi Tian's soul instantly, the soul world was directly torn apart by Yi Tian's terrifying power. Then, Yi Tian shot again. Break. Forbidden Dao Shadow Thorn cast. Puff. The blow ignoring the distance directly penetrated the body of Yinmu Daozu, directly injuring his body. But he did not fall directly like the other half-step ancestors of the realm of all things, but survived. Hey, it's interesting. Yi Tian was a little surprised. Although he didn't use all his strength, this move was enough to kill the reunification realm like Palace Master Shang Lei Jia, but he didn't kill Yinmu Daozu. It has to be said that although Yinmu Daozu is only a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things, his strength is stronger than that of the Palace Master of Thunder Tribulation. As expected of the Holy Master of the Holy Land in the Dark Forbidden Realm, his strength is still higher than that of the Palace Master of Thunder Tribulation. I am afraid that he is comparable to the half-step domain ancestor of the Unification Realm like Palace Master Longying, and even more powerful in some aspects. Be stronger, Yi Tian estimated. What a powerful attack, what a strange attack, there is no way to dodge it, and I was hit directly. Silver-eyed Daozu is extremely solemn. If it is in the outside world, he can use some life-saving things, and use those life-saving things with his status. Even if the strength is not as good as Yi Tian, the consumption is enough to consume Yi Tian. But not in the battlefield tower, except for a main attack weapon, other weapons and secret treasures cannot be used. Otherwise, the blow just now would not be able to injure him at all. The Eucharist must be used. Silver-eyed Daozu secretly said. Boom, silver rays of light erupted from Yinmu Daozu's body, as if there was a set of silver armor that completely wrapped him. Upon closer inspection, he found that he was covered in silver scales, which looked extremely gorgeous and majestic. Silver astral body. Oh my god, it's the silver astral sacred body. I didn't expect that the yin-eyed Daozu actually became the silver astral sacred body. This is a powerful sacred body in the top 3,000 ranks of the Dark Sanctuary. It is said that a holy body like the Silver Gang's sacred body is difficult to condense, and the process is very dangerous. Once it fails, it is easy to be seriously injured or even fall. Only by taking the holy artifact of the Silver Gang Holy Fruit can it be easily condensed. He obtained the holy artifact of the Silver Gang Holy Fruit. I don't know if he obtained it himself, or the Holy Land of Danghai behind him. There is no need to guess, it is the Silver Gang Holy Fruit obtained by Danghai Holy Land. It is said that somewhere in the Dark Forbidden area, Danghai Holy Land fought with many forces for the holy item of Silver Gang Holy Fruit, and even broke out with the forbidden creatures. In the battle, in the end, the Danghai Holy Land lost dozens of domain ancestors, including a top domain ancestor, and only then did they snatch the Silver Gangster Fruit. Yinmu Daozu is really lucky. He happens to be in the stage of being highly valued and cultivated. Once he becomes a domain ancestor, there is no way to condense the holy body, and there is no way to obtain the Silver Gang Holy Fruit. Yinmu Daozu has condensed the Silver Gang Holy Body. I am afraid that his strength is enough to rank in the top 500 of the list of all things. No wonder he is so angry. He has such strength, but he was kicked out of the 513 list. Not angry. This ancestor of all things Dao is going to be miserable. Silver astral body. This is the first time Yi Tian has seen the second person who has the Eucharist besides himself. Maybe other people also have the Eucharist, but he didn't show it, and he didn't know. This holy body is good, but it is far inferior to my holy body. I wonder how my primordial holy body is in the dark sanctuary. Yi Tian secretly said, =8, silver-eyed Daozu killed him. And Yi Tian still did not use the primordial saint body, nor did he use the power of the extreme way. But other strengths can be revealed. Shadowthorn. Dark Pole Dao Spear. Yi Tian's strength exploded, showing the battle strength of the top-level normalization realm half-step domain ancestor. Boom. Yinmu Daozu was directly knocked into the air, and the silver gang body began to crack. The gap between the two sides is a bit big, and he was completely beaten by Yi Tian. Boom boom boom. Yi Tian kept making shots, and in a short while, Dao ancestor Yinmu was beaten to the point of cracking his body. Click. Silver-eyed Daozu's silver gang sacrament was broken. Then, Yi Tian pierced through with another blow, directly smashing the body of Yinmu Daozu. The fighting platform directly judged that Yinmu Daozu was defeated. Yi Tian wins. Chapter 1291 Begin to challenge the realm of reunification. Silver-Eye Daozu actually lost. How can this happen? Yinmo Daozu has already condensed the Silver Gang holy body, how can he still sleep? This half-step domain ancestor called Wanfa Daozu did not display any holy body, and his methods seemed to be relatively ordinary. Why did he easily defeat Yinmu Daozu? It's not that Yin-eyed Daozu is weak, but the name Wanfa Daozu is too powerful, his foundation is too strong. Even if there is no other means, he can crush Yinmu Daozu with his true strength. If he still hides other, it's even more terrifying. Look, the Zanji Tower actually listed Yi Qingtian's combat power as the 582nd on the list of all things, and the Yinmu Daozu also re-entered the list of all things, ranking 624th. It seems that the Yinmu Daozu showed the holy body, evaluation promoted, and thus entered the list of all things again. Although Yinmu Daozu rushed into the list of all things, he is probably not excited, but rather disappointed. These people are right, Yinmu Daozu is not excited at all. What's so exciting about being listed at number 624 on the list of all things? If it wasn't for his defeat, he would have been able to rush into the top 600. Too bad he lost. After condensing the silver astral body, he was still defeated by Yi Tian's methods, and the opponent's strength far surpassed him. He could even feel that Yi Tian had not displayed his full strength yet, and there seemed to be another terrifying power hidden in the opponent's body. He thought it was an illusion before and didn't want to believe it, but now that he thinks about it, it's not an illusion but a real feeling. Yi Tian is far stronger than him, no matter how unwilling he is, he can only admit it. 1. Yi Tian was still a little happy in his heart. Although the opponent's strength is not as strong as he imagined, he can win the opponent and his reputation spreads. I am afraid that many half-step ancestors in the depths of the dark forbidden area know about his existence, and even many ancestors have heard about him. Such a reputation is enough to brag about. Moreover, he also 3001 points from Yinmu Daozu. That's right, he gambled 3000 points and seemed to want to win Yi Tian all of a sudden, but he didn't expect to lose all of a sudden. Perhaps as the other party, he doesn't necessarily care about the mere 3000 points, but for Yi Tian, these 3000 points are not a small number, and they are enough to exchange for countless resources. Even the inheritance of the ancestors of the domain, 3000 points can be exchanged for one. But Yi Tian knew very well that simply defeating a silver-eyed Dao ancestor was nothing at all. Silver-eyed Dao ancestor seems to have a good reputation, but that is only for these half-step domain ancestors. The Dark Sanctuary has a half-step ancestor on the list of all things from generation to generation, and the replacement is too fast, so a half-step ancestor on the list of all things is nothing. Only the top 10 are really top geniuses, and the others can only be regarded as general geniuses. Half-step ancestors who are not on the list of all things are not even geniuses. You may not be able to find other geniuses on the list of all things, so let's challenge it by leapfrogging. Yi Tian muttered. The rules of the battlefield tower are very strange. You can skip the challenge, but you cannot downgrade the challenge. Yi Tian consciously communicates with the imprint of the Black Tower, looking for the challenge information at the level of unity. Soon, he chose a half-step ancestor of the normalization realm with more than 90% of the defeats, the Black-Toothed Daozu. Immediately, he chose to challenge Daozu Haifang. War World Tower, a certain independent space, Black Fang Daozu was cultivating, and suddenly felt that someone had accepted the challenge information. Ancestor of the Tao of 10,000 laws, ancestor of the half-step domain of the realm of all things, this person dares to challenge me and seek death. Daozu Blackfang was very angry. He has been in retreat all the time, so he does not know Wanfa Daozu, nor has he heard of it. However, he still agreed and was ready to teach Yi Tian a lesson. Wow! Daozu Haifeng left the independent space and came to the battle platform. Wanfa Daozu, come up. Daozu Blackfang entered the battle arena. And Yi Tian also got a reminder from the Zanji Tower, and he must go up, otherwise, after a certain period of time, the Zanji Tower will forcibly move Yi Tian in. Wow! Yi Tian also entered the battle platform where Daozu Blackfang was, and the two sides confronted each other. It's you who challenged me, it looks very unfamiliar, which force? So arrogant, dare to leapfrog and fight. Daozu Blackfang roared, it's just a small half-step ancestor from the Daoshan realm. Yi Tian said, the ants from the realm, if you want to send points, I have no reason not to accept them. Daozu Blackfang showed a cruel smile. He has suffered many defeats in the Unity realm. Although he has issued a challenge, if the powerful half-step domain ancestor of the Unity realm accepts the challenge, he will definitely not agree. But an ant like Yi Tian, he would definitely agree. Noisy. Yi Tian was too lazy to talk nonsense with Daozu Heya. Daozu like Haifeng was definitely not as good as Daozu with silver eyes. The reason why he challenged the weak was just to win some points. Swish. Yi Tian shot, a shadow thorn directly penetrated the Blackfang Daozu. After that, he used the dark coal Dao spear several times in a row, directly blowing up the body of Dao ancestor Blackfang and winning the battle. When Haifeng Daozu's body was condensed outside the battle platform, he was still in a state of confusion. He hasn't reacted yet, why did he lose? Soon, he understood Yi Tian's strength. Fuck, it turns out to be the ancestor of the half-step domain of the realm of all things. If I knew it earlier, I would not agree. Daozu Haifeng has miscalculated. This time, I lost 1,000 points, and I don't know how long it will take to get it back. Good loss. Before accepting someone else's challenge next time, you must first inquire clearly, even if the other party is only a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things Li Dahao, you have to be careful. Next, Yi Tian continued to challenge a half-step ancestor who deserved the title, winning every time. And the opponent he challenged is getting stronger and stronger, but no matter how strong the opponent is, they are all defeated by him. In this way, as his record gets better and better, his ranking on the list of all things is getting higher and higher. At this moment, a relatively powerful half-step domain ancestor of the reunification realm couldn't stand it any longer and came directly to Yi Tian. Wanfa Daozu, I am the half-step ancestor Longyan Daozu of the homeland realm. I want to challenge you. Do you want to? If you beat me, 5,000 points will be given to you. If you lose, you only need to pay 500 points. Longyan Daozu said. Yi Tian investigated the situation of Dao ancestor Longyan, and used the Black Tower mark to check Dao ancestor Longyan's record to estimate the opponent's strength. Finally, Yi Tian nodded. Okay, I agree. Chapter 1292 The saying of the ninefold return to one realm. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Yi Tian agreed so simply because Longyan Daozu's record was not very good. From the point of view of cultivation, Daozu Longyan should belong to the late stage of Unity realm. Of course, the so-called top-level unified combat power is based on the standard of combat power from the mysterious to the ancient world. As for the Dark Sanctuary, how the specific combat power of the Unity realm is divided, he still doesn't know much about it. However, he is confident to defeat Longyan Daozu. Then go to the battle arena. Longyan Daozu directly entered the battle stage, and Yi Tian also entered the battle stage. It's Daozu Longyan, he entered the battle arena with a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things. That half-step ancestor of the realm of all things is the ancestor of the 10,000 ways, a genius on the list of all things, but he doesn't know the ancestor of Longyan, so he dares to fight with the ancestor of Longyan. Ha ha ha, Daozu Longyan specializes in defensive taboo Taoism, and he owns a defensive holy body. Although that holy body is not as good as the 3,000 holy bodies, it is a very common holy body, but this kind of holy body is the most suitable for fighting. Taiwan. Under the circumstance that you can't use the defensive domain device and other defensive secret treasures, the possession of the defensive holy body and the defensive forbidden Taoism has too many advantages. When someone else's body collapses, he loses, but his body is not easy. Collapse. 513. Yes, and the strength of Longyan Daozu is very strong. He is a 5-level return to the first realm and a half-step domain ancestor, and the Wanfa Daozu is lost. Myriad Fa Dao ancestor, you are very courageous, and challenge me, the half-step domain ancestor of the five-fold return to one realm, with the cultivation base of the half-step domain patriarch of the realm of all things. Longyan Daozu said with a smile. Anyway, Yi Tian has already agreed to fight, and has come to power, it's too late to go back on it, so it doesn't matter if he talks nonsense. 5-level Unity Realm, could it be that there are specific levels in the Unity Realm? Yi Tian asked curiously. Oh, it seems that the realm you are in is really weak. You don't even know the division of the homeland. It's no wonder that you dare to challenge me. You are so ignorant. Daozu Longyan was surprised, and immediately explained, going home. Those with a large gap in the strength of the first level can easily kill the weaker one, so the domain ancestors of the Dark Sanctuary made a specific division of the strength of the 1 level, from the first level to the 9 level. The specific division method is the combat power. The major forces have a place to test their combat power. Even the Zanji Tower has a special ground, CJFI, to test the combat power. The world has tested its combat power. And this combat power is confidential and will not be announced. I see, Yi Tian said clearly. Stop talking nonsense with you, let's beat you as soon as possible. Longyan Daozu took action. I saw that he instantly opened the heavenly rock sacred body and punched Yi Tian with a punch. This punch is resolutely also a taboo Dao technique, breaking the sky. Boom, the space is shaking, and the terrifying coercion comes. This blow can easily blow up anyone in the realm of all things. Even the geniuses who are at the bottom of the list of all things cannot withstand this blow. Sure enough, it has the combat power of Xuanshu to the top of the ancient world, and it is even slightly stronger. Yi Tian was surprised. Of course, when he didn't use the power of the extreme way, his combat power was enough to surpass this Longyan Daozu, so he didn't panic at all. Dark Pole Dao Spear. Yi Tian held the heaven-slaying spear and confronted Longyan Daozu head-on. Boom. Yi Tian stood still, but Longyan Daozu was blasted out, and cracks appeared on his indestructible fist. Just a little bit, his heavenly rock holy body was broken. But I have to admit that Yi Tian's attack power is too terrifying, surpassing his strongest strike unexpectedly. 6th return to one realm combat power. Longyan Daozu is extremely dignified. Among the half-step ancestors of the realm of all things, if you can have the battle strength of the half-step ancestors of the 5-level return to 1 level, it is enough to rank in the top 300. List. The top 10 of the list of all things are the ancestral power of the 7th stage of returning to the first realm, and they are only the first entry, and they are only able to enter this level by relying on the powerful holy body and many weapon secrets. Once these weapons are gone, at the top of the Zanji Tower, it only exerts half of the combat power of the 7th stage. There are half-step ancestors of the realm of all things who can really rely on their own strength to exert the combat power of the 7th level homecoming, but it takes a long time to be born, and even the 8th level homecoming has been born in history. But even so, Yi Tian possessed the battle strength of the 6th stage returning one realm half-step domain ancestor, which really shocked him. He knew that he underestimated Yi Tian, and now he would not only lose points, but also lose face. Damn, it shouldn't be in the first place. Longyan Daozu secretly regretted. Now, he can only hope that Yi Tian is relying on the secret technique to display the power of the 6th level normalization level, and it cannot last. In this case, he can also use his heavenly rock sacred body and the defensive taboo Dao technique to resist for a period of time, so as to obtain the final victory. Boom. Yi Tian shot again, completely using Longyan Daozu as a sandbag, and the body of Longyan Daozu was cracked with one blow. Boom boom boom. The battle between the two attracted the attention of many half-step ancestors, and they were all very surprised. It's so terrifying, the Daozu of Wanfa actually has the combat power of the top 100 in the list of all things. There is a return to the realm of shock. Outside the battle arena, Yin Mo Daozu breathed a sigh of relief. Yi Tian's strength was so powerful that he was not wronged at all. If Yi Tian burst out with all his strength from the very beginning, he was afraid that he would lose with one move. I didn't expect that such a monster could be born in a small realm. I wonder if he has any hope of reaching the top 10 on the list of all things. Silver-eyed Daozu thought to himself. From the domain, the top 10 on the list, or Italy, of course, the hope of getting the top 3, the top 10 holy gates is even greater. It is too difficult to obtain the first 3, a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things in a small realm. If there is no strong inheritance, it is impossible to achieve. Basically, the top 3 on the list of all things are the people of the 10 holy gates. It is too difficult for people who are not from the holy sect to be among the top 3 on the list of all things. After a while, Longyun Daozu's defensive Forbidden Dao technique was smashed many times and could not be condensed again. Even the Tianyan holy body was blown up and completely defeated. With the defeat of Longyun Daozu, Yi Tian was recognized by the Zhanji Tower and entered the top 100 in the list of all things. Soon, Yi Tian's name rose to 98th on the list of all things. Chapter 1293 The Seventh Return to One Realm Half-Step Domain Ancestor and #039's Battle Power. To be able to enter the top 100 on the list of all things and place it in the entire Dark Sanctuary, it is not an ordinary genius but a genius enough to be famous in the Dark Sanctuary. Of course, there is only hope, and it may not be able to really become the ancestor of the strongest domain. In the Dark Sanctuary, as long as you have talent and resources, it is not difficult to become a top domain ancestor. As long as you stay alive and go on for a long time, you can eventually be promoted to the top domain ancestor level. But it is difficult to become the ancestor of the strong domain. It is not a realm that can be reached by time. As everyone knows, for a long time in the God Heaven realm, there has not been a supreme ancestor born, which can be seen that it is very difficult to become a supreme ancestor. Even in the Dark Sanctuary, it is extremely difficult. Yi Tian did not continue to challenge the half-step domain ancestor of the Unification realm, but went to the 9-layer war realm of the War Realm Pagoda. In fact, the 9 layers of war is also an independent space, but it is an independent space dedicated to testing combat power. Entering 10 points at a time, Yi Tian spent 10 points to come to the 9 layers of war realm. The 9-layer war realm is only open to the combat power of the Unity realm. If there is no Unity realm combat strength, even the first wave of attacks will not be able to withstand it. Whoa whoa whoa, 10 opponents appeared in a row, and these opponents were all opponents condensed from the Battle World Tower. The strength of these 10 opponents is not very strong, and they are much weaker than the ancestors of the first half-step domain, but if they join forces, they have almost no weaknesses. Yi Tian had no interest in fighting against these weaker opponents, and stabbed out with a spear, instantly killing these 10 opponents. Then, another 10 opponents appeared, much stronger than the 10 opponents just now. Instant kill, instant kill, instant kill. Yi Tian showed terrifying combat power, defeating wave after wave of opponents. Victory over the first wave of opponents is equivalent to a return to a realm and a half-step domain ancestor. At this moment, he has already defeated the 5th wave of opponents, which is equivalent to the ancestor of the 5-level return to the first realm and a half-step domain. Then, he ushered in the 6th wave of opponents, and took a moment to kill all of these 6 waves of opponents. Soon, the 7th wave of opponents arrived. Once you defeat the 7th wave of opponents, it means that you have the combat power of the 7th return to one realm and half-step domain ancestor. In the Battle Realm Tower, even the top 10 powerhouses in the list of all things are difficult to defeat the 7th wave of enemies. If they are outside, they can kill them, but they cannot use other treasures and whole cards here. Can rely on their own strength, so it is difficult to kill them. Perhaps the top 3 strongmen in the list of all things can kill 4 or 5 people, or 7 or 8 people. I don't know if I can kill them. Yi Tian muttered. Hunyuan holy body, open. Except for the power of the extreme way, Yi Tian showed all the other powers. Boom. The battle kept fighting. Yi Tian was completely suppressed by these 10 opponents. With his own strength alone, he simply does not have the combat power of the 7th stage returning to one realm half-step domain ancestor. If he continues to fight like this, he will be beheaded by these 10 opponents in less than a minute. The power of the extreme way, open. Yi Tian shouted. Boom. Under the blessing of the power of the extreme way, Yi Tian smashed the body of an opponent with a single strike of the dark extreme way spear, beheading the opponent. Then, Yi Tian beheaded these opponents one by one. It didn't take long for all 10 opponents to die, and he was only slightly injured. At this moment, Yi Tian roughly estimated his own strength. Without using the power of the extreme way, he is probably equivalent to the top 6-level normalization half-step domain ancestor combat power, and this kind of strength can probably rank in the top 30 ranks. If he uses the power of the extreme way, he can step into the 7th level normalization and half-step domain ancestral combat power, and it is estimated that he can be ranked in the top 3 or even the first. Because he can't guarantee that the top 3 geniuses on the list of all things have no hidden strength, maybe the other party also has the combat power of the ancestors of the 7th stage of returning to one realm and half-step domain. The ancestral power of the 7th return to the first realm and the half-step realm seems to be very strong, but in the history of the Dark Sanctuary, even the geniuses of the myriad realm with the battle strength of the 8th stage return to the first realm and the half-step realm have been born, so his strength is not against the sky. Knowing his combat strength, Yi Tian left the 9-layer war realm with satisfaction. For flowers, returning to the fighting platform, he began to challenge the half-step domain ancestor of the Unity realm. With the passage of time, a half-step domain ancestor of the 5th level return to the 1st realm was defeated by Yi Tian, and almost no one of the 5-level return to the 1st level half-step domain ancestor accepted Yi Tian's challenge. Therefore, Yi Tian set his sights on the half-step domain ancestor of the 6th stage of returning to the 1st realm, and every time he deliberately pretended to be difficult to defeat the enemy. In this way, many ancestors of the 6th stage of returning to one realm and half-step domain thought that they could defeat Yi Tian, and challenged Yi Tian one by one, but all of them were defeated. After Yi Tian defeated a top 6-level half-step ancestor, Zhanji Tower saw that his ranking was raised to the 17th place on the list of all things. Having defeated so many opponents, Yi Tian now has a lot of points, more than 60,000 points. Nowadays, many people can see that Yi Tian is deliberately hiding his strength, attracting one by one the ancestors of the 6th realm and half-step domain, thus defeating them one by one, gaining fame, and also getting a lot of points. Wanfa Daozu, let me challenge you. A half-step domain ancestor who was 100 feet tall appeared in front of Yi Tian and said, "It's the Patriarch Taoist, he actually wants to challenge the Daozu of Wanfa." The White Blade Daozu is known as the invincible existence of the 6th stage returning one realm half-step domain ancestor. Even if the weaker 7th stage returning one stage half-step domain ancestor can defeat him, it is very difficult to kill him. Yeah, the speed of the White Blade Dao ancestor is too fast, comparable to the speed of the half-step domain ancestor of the 7th stage of returning to one realm. From the words of the other half-step ancestors around him, as well as the record of the ancestors of the White Blade, he knew that this was a half-step ancestor of the realm. But once he defeats the opponent, he is afraid that he can be directly promoted to the top 10 of the list of all things, thus attracting the attention of the top 10 holy gates. Yi Tian agreed, but said again, "If we challenge, we will bet 50,000 points, dare you?" 50,000 points, nothing, I bet. White Blade Daozu said with a smile. Many people were very interested in the discussion between the White Blade Daozu and Wanfa Daozu, and they came to watch the battle one by one. The densely packed half-step domain ancestors came out from the independent spaces and watched the battle one after another. Chapter 1294 The Inheritor of the Extreme Way, climbed to the top of the list of all things. After entering the battle platform, the figure of Daozu Baron shrank rapidly, becoming 1 meter in size. This is his Eucharist, the Eucharist of the streamer. It was precisely because of the existence of this holy body that his speed became incomparably fast. Yi Tian also went to the battle stage, and without saying a word, directly opened the primordial saint body. Facing an opponent like Bai Ren Daozu, he could not use the power of the extreme way at first, but if he didn't even open the holy body, he couldn't beat him at all. But when Yi Qingtian showed the primordial saint body for the first time, he was recognized by some half-step ancestors, and they were all extremely shocked. This is the primordial holy body. That's right, it seems to be the holy body of primordial. Although the other party is only in the realm, it is indeed the holy saint of primordial body. Oh my god, someone actually practiced the holy body of Hunyuan, May 13th. This kind of holy body is extremely dangerous. Only the legendary holy fruit of Hunyuan can assist in practicing the holy body of Hunyuan. It has disappeared, and the holy body of Hunyuan has also become the legendary holy body. No one has practiced it for a long time, right? That's right, no one in the Dark Sanctuary has practiced the holy body of Hunyuan for a long time, but now Wanfa Daozu has practiced the holy body of Hunyuan. How did he practice it? Maybe it's luck. If you're lucky, there's still hope to be successful, but that hope is too small. Countless geniuses who want to practice the primordial saint body have all died. Countless half-step domain ancestors were shocked that Yi Tian practiced the primordial saint body, but Yi Tian didn't feel it. After all, he didn't know much about the primordial saint physique. But if he knew a little about it, he would know how terrifying the primordial saint physique is. Among the 3,000 saints, the primordial saint can definitely be ranked in the top 10. The key is that the true power of the Eucharist can be exerted only after the Eucharist is completed. For example, those geniuses who are at the top of the list of all things have cultivated the holy body to the realm of great achievement. And Yi Tian's holy body is only a small success. It's not because of his talent, and he has no treasures to assist the cultivation of the holy body. There are many special treasures in the Dark Sanctuary, which can speed up the cultivation of the holy body. Once you get those treasures, you can improve the holy body. The body is not difficult. Once the holy body is completed, Yi Qingtian's strength will increase. You have condensed the primordial saint body. The white blade Daozu was also extremely shocked. However, fortunately, Yi Tian's primordial saint physique has only reached the realm, so the threat is not very big. If it was Dacheng, he would simply admit defeat. War. Bai Ren Daozu shot, holding a long knife, and fighting with Yi Tian. His speed is very fast, far surpassing the ordinary half-step domain ancestor of the normalization realm. I have to admit that in the Xuanshu to the ancient world, no one can be faster than the white blade Daozu, even if it is the Function Mountain Master. If he does not burst out with all his strength, the speed is not as fast as the white blade Daozu. Of course, Yi Tian could barely keep up with the speed of the white blade Daozu. However, the dark pole spear could not lock the body of the white blade Taoist, so this forbidden Taoist technique was useless to him. But Yi Tian's shadow thorn ignores the distance, so it can attack the white blade Dao ancestor. Dang dang. The two kept fighting, almost indistinguishable. At this moment, many people knew that Yi Tian also possessed an almost invincible combat power at the half-step ancestor level of the six-fold return. 1 minute has passed, 10 minutes have passed, half an hour has passed. The two of them are almost unable to tell the winner and loser. If they continue to fight like this, they can only rely on the Battle World Tower to assess who has the upper hand and win the victory. After fighting to this moment, Yi Tian also knew that he had to use the power of the extreme way, otherwise he would not be able to defeat the white blade Dao ancestor at all. Boom! With the blessing of extreme power, Yi Tian cast the shadow thorn again. The power of this blow directly reached the combat power of the 7th stage returning one realm half-step domain ancestor, and it could be called the attack power of the top 7th stage returning one stage half-step domain ancestor. Puff! The sky-killing spear pierced the white blade Daozu and hit him severely. Swish! Bai Ren Daozu cast a secret technique, and instantly retreated far away, looking at Yi Tian with a shocked expression. The power of the extreme way, you are the inheritor of the extreme way. White blade Daozu said in shock. What? The power of the extreme way, the inheritor of the extreme way. Many onlookers were also shocked. The inheritors of the extreme path are even rarer than condensing the holy body. As long as every inheritor of the extreme path does not fall, he will definitely become the supreme ancestor in the future. Moreover, the inheritors of the extreme path can leapfrog and fight, and the inheritance of the extreme path is almost controlled by the 10 major holy gates, and even the Holy Land may not have the inheritance of the extreme path. Moreover, the inheritance of the extreme way has too high requirements for talent and aptitude, and it must be inherited at the level of the ancestors. If the innate talent is not enough, even if he has obtained the inheritance of the extreme path, he will not dare to go to the inheritance of the extreme path, otherwise he will always be trapped in the level of the invincible Tao ancestor and cannot progress. For example, in the 10 great sacred sects, many evildoers are also eligible to obtain the inheritance of the extreme path, but in the end they gave up one by one. In this era, among the half-step ancestral levels, only a few have mastered the inheritance of the extreme path, and those few are now at the level of the One Realm, and they occupy the top of the list of the One Realm. The strength of those few is extremely terrifying, and they can easily kill ordinary domain ancestors. They are truly invincible in the unified world. Mingyu Daozu was also watching the battle, and she was extremely surprised to find out that Yi Tian was the inheritor of the ultimate Tao. If I had known earlier, I would have to pull him into our holy land at all costs. Mingyu Daozu regretted it. However, she didn't know that Yi Tian's talent was so terrifying, otherwise, one of the ancestors of Zhenyuan Holy Land would also come here with a special 5.8 body and negotiate with Yi Tian. In that case, Yi Tian might agree to join Zhenyuan Holy Land. But things have come to this point, regret is useless, no one would have thought that Yi Tian's strength and talent would be so terrifying. Moreover, after this battle, Yi Tian is afraid that he can become the number one on the list of all things. The 10 great sacred sects would also notice Yi Tian's existence and directly recruit Yi Tian. On the battle arena, Yi Tian used the power of the extreme way to shoot, and after a few moves, he exploded the body of the white blade Daozu, thus winning the victory. Bai Ren Daozu lost, and 50,000 points fell into Yi Tian's point account. And at this time, the list of all things was updated, and the name of the ancestor of the 10,000 Dharma instantly reached the top. Chapter 1295 The Inheritance of the Three Major Eucharistics, the Eternal and Immortal Eucharist. Number 1 on the list of all things, this is enough to make a name for the entire Dark Sanctuary. Of course, the Dark Sanctuary has a lot of the number 1 on the list of all things, and the number 1 on the list of all things is born one after another. But Yi Tian, the number one on the list of all things, has a very high gold content, because not only has he practiced the holy body of primordial body, but he is also the inheritor of the extreme way, which makes him far more than the number one on the list of all things. After Yi Tian became the number one on the list of all things, each force sent out invitations to Yi Tian, and there were many holy places among them. But Yi Tian paid no attention to these forces. His goal was only the top 10 holy gates, and only the top 10 holy gates could attract him. The 10 supreme holy gates of the Dark Sanctuary are the Gate of Battle, the Holy Gate of the Sky, the Holy Gate of all things, the Holy Gate of Immortality, the Holy Gate of the Heavens, the Holy Gate of the Underworld, the Holy Lady's Gate, the Golden Bell Holy Gate, the Dark Holy Gate and the Forbidden Holy Gate. Door. Among them, the Taboo Sacred Gate is a force built by taboo creatures, almost not accepting practitioners, only taboo creatures. In the Dark Sanctuary, some forbidden creatures are neutral and do not fight against practitioners 29, so they have established the Forbidden Holy Gate, and the other 9 holy gates do not deal with it. Besides, the Forbidden Holy Gate is very powerful, and other holy gates it will not be boring to find the trouble of the Forbidden Holy Gate. The Dark Sacred Sect is the oldest sacred sect. Its strength is not necessarily the strongest, but its foundation is deep enough. Except for the Forbidden Holy Gate, the other 9 holy gates are likely to recruit Yi Tian. Soon, a domain ancestor clone of the first holy gate descended on the War Realm Tower. Hello, I come from the Long Yongyu ancestor of the Immortal Saint Gate. A domain ancestor clone appeared in front of Yi Tian and introduced himself. Long Yongyu ancestor, hello. Yi Tian also greeted politely. Ancestor of the Dharma, our Immortal Saint sect sends an invitation to you. Once you join our Immortal Saint sect, you can directly become a holy son and enjoy the treatment of a holy son. Long Yongyu said. Afterwards, Long Yongyu ancestor said a lot of conditions. However, at this time, another domain ancestor of the holy sect found Yi Tian. Wanfa Daozu, I am the Yaoshan Yuzu from the holy sect of all things. The Yaoshan Yuzu from the holy door of all things introduced himself. Ancestor of Yaoshan Yu, our Immortal Saint sect came first. Is it not good for you to be like this? Ancestor Long Yongyu said unhappily. He knew the ancestors of Yathianyu. After all, they were the 10 great holy gates, so they knew each other naturally. Long Yongyu, if you can invite Wanfa Daozu, we can't come. Besides, he hasn't promised to join your immortal sect. Yaoshan Yuzu said. Ancestor Long Yongyu was in a hurry, but he couldn't refute it. That's right, Yi Tian hasn't said to join. Other holy gates can naturally continue to invite Yi Tian. Afterwards, the avatars of the domain ancestors of the holy gates came to invite Yi Tian to join the holy gates. It can be seen that Yi Tian's talent really alarmed the holy gates. However, as the owner of the Zhanji Tower, Zhanman is the last to arrive. Myriad Fa Dao ancestor, I am the Blood Gang domain ancestor of Zhanman. The ancestor of the War Gate opened his mouth and said. I have seen the ancestor of the Blood Gang domain. I have seen the ancestors of the Blood Gang territory. 1. I have seen the ancestors of the Blood Gang territory. One of the ancestors of the other 8 holy gates respectfully said. The domain ancestors who came from the other holy gates are all supreme domain ancestors, and even the strong domain ancestors invited Yi Tian. This is enough to value Yi Tian. After all, the supreme domain ancestors are also big figures in the Dark Sanctuary, almost the master of a city. The status is enough to establish a city power. However, the Blood Gang ancestor is different. He is not the strongest ancestor, but the invincible ancestor, and he is not an ordinary invincible ancestor, but a terrifying existence who has killed many invincible ancestors, and his combat power is extremely terrifying. Far from being something they can compare to. They were very surprised. It was only the first place on the list of all things. Even if he had the inheritance of the extreme way and the holy body of primordial body, there was no need to disturb such a big man as the ancestor of the Blood Gang territory, right? Yi Tian saw that the other domain ancestors were so respectful, and also knew that the Blood Gang domain ancestors were extraordinary and definitely not ordinary domain ancestors. I have seen the ancestor of the Blood Gang domain. Yi Tian also said politely. At this time, the ancestor of the Blood Gangland opened his mouth and said, Wanfa Daozu, I don't know what conditions the other holy gates give you. Let me tell you the conditions of our war gate. Once you join the war gate, you will enjoy the status of the Holy Son, and we will fight the gate. It will teach you the inheritance of the Black Origin sacred body and the Forbidden Heaven sacred physique inheritance. The 3 holy bodies created. Once you have practiced the 3 holy bodies, you can synthesize a holy body. the eternal and immortal holy body, which is the first holy body of the Dark Sanctuary. In addition, our Zonman can also provide unlimited resources for you to cultivate the holy body to the realm of great achievement, which is the condition of our Zonman. The ancestor of the Blood Gang domain, the holy body of Hunyuan, the holy body of Black Primordial, and the holy body of Forbidden Heaven, these three holy bodies are almost impossible to practice, and you have no auxiliary things in the war door. The primordial sacred body is all luck. If you let him practice the Black Primal sacred body and Forbidden Heavenly sacred body again, that would be courting death. Do you want to destroy a monstrous genius? Ancestor Long Yongyu frowned. Immediately, other people from the Holy Gate are also ready to watch the play. They feel that the conditions of Zonman do not have advantages at all. Although Zonman has a complete inheritance of the three holy bodies, this is an advantage, but who dares to practice these three types of holy bodies? They wouldn't think that Yi Tian would choose the War Gate, except for the inheritance of the holy body. The conditions of the War Gate are not as good as their major holy gates. However, Yi Tian said, the ancestor of the Blood Gang territory, I am willing to join the War Gate. Boom. The other domain ancestors were shocked and couldn't control their breath. But the ancestor of the Blood Gangland smiled, as if he knew that Yi Tian would choose the War Gate. Others may not understand the eternal and indestructible holy body, but in fact, Zonman understands it very well. If someone can practice the primordial holy body without the help of auxiliary objects, it is a natural fit for the eternal and indestructible holy body. There is a great hope to practice the Black Origin holy body and the Forbidden holy body. Therefore, once Zonman made this condition, Yi Tian would definitely agree. However, the people of Zonman do not know at all. Yi Tian can copy the body, try again and again. This can be practiced into the holy body of primordial. It is not as natural as the ancestors of the Blood Gang domain imagine to be suitable for cultivating the eternal and indestructible saint body. Yi Tian agreed to join the war sect. Although the other saint sect people were puzzled, they left one by one. At this time, they even hoped that Yi Tian would fall while cultivating the three holy bodies, so that Zonman would lose a monstrous genius and have to pay for some resources. Chapter 1296 Sheng Fu, Streamer. Wanfa Daozu, you are a creature of the realm. You are too far away from the Dark Sanctuary. You don't have the strength of the Supreme Ancestor. You cannot easily cross the Dark Forbidden Realm, or you will fall if you are not careful. Therefore, when you become a supreme power before Yuzu, we did not ask you to come to the Dark Sanctuary. Your future resources and benefits will be handed over to you directly through the Zanji Tower. But correspondingly, you will not be able to obtain some of the training treasures of Zonman. After all, you can't come to the Dark Sanctuary. Ancestor of the Blood Gang took Yi Tian to an independent space in the Zanji Pagoda and explained to Yi Tian. Ancestor of Blood Gang territory, I understand. Yi Tian nodded. This is the Holy Child token of Zonman. After you refine it, you will be the Holy Child of Zonman. Moreover, there is an independent space in Zonman Tower that only allows Zonman half-step ancestors to enter. Although the people there not many, but occasionally some holy sons from the War Gate enter. If you communicate with them, you can communicate more. In addition, it will take a few days before they can be delivered to you. As for the resources, you can go directly to the independent space of the War Gate to get them. The ancestral way of the Blood Gang territory. Clear. Yi Tian nodded. After the ancestor of the Blood Gangland left, Yi Tian refined the Holy Child token. Through the token of the Holy Sun, Yi Tian came to the independent space of the War Gate, the War Domain world. The battlefield is very large, comparable to a small universe. Perhaps in the eyes of the ancestors of the Blood Gang domain, there are not many people here, but in Yi Tian's eyes, there are too many people here. There are about 1 million half-step ancestors located here. In fact, so many half-step domain ancestors are not real members of the war sect, and basically belong to the vassals of the warriors of the war sect. For example, a Zonman powerhouse has many subordinates. These subordinates are considered half of Zonman, but they cannot enjoy the treatment of Zonman. They are also qualified to enter here, but their status is far from comparable to that of a saint like Yi Tian. Yi Tian came here without attracting anyone's attention at all. After all, there are so many half-step ancestors here, who would care about Yi Tian? There are many cities and private territories in the battlefield, and the private territories are basically the territories of the real members of the War Gate. As for the general affiliated members, they are not eligible to own private territories. Of course, if the affiliated members are good enough, they can also become real members of the War Gate. However, Zonman is one of the 10 great sacred sects. The requirements for disciples are too high, and ordinary geniuses are ignored. How difficult it is to become a disciple of Zanman. Yi Tian came to the core area of Zanyu realm, Zanyu city. There is a great hall in the battle domain city, which is an institution of the war gate, the battle hall. The battle palace is responsible for many affairs of the battle world tower, and the ancestors of the half-step domain can also exchange resources here, and even purchase some inheritances of the battle gate. Soon, Yi Tian came to the battle hall, ready to receive a piece of his own private territory and the resources of the Holy Sun. When Yi Tian revealed his identity, he immediately attracted the attention of many half-step ancestors in the battle hall. After investigation, they confirmed that Yi Tian's identity is indeed the Holy Sun, and the Holy Sun who has just been promoted. Have seen the Son of all laws. The person in charge of the battle hall, Chen Huang, who is at the level of the One Realm cultivation level, immediately respectfully said, "I want to claim a piece of private territory and resources that belong to me, no problem." Yi Tian asked, "No problem, son, please wait." Chen Huang quickly went to prepare. In a short time, a void ring containing a large amount of resources was brought by Chen Huang and handed to Yi Tian. So many resources. Yi Tian was extremely surprised. The resources here are very precious, and any kind of resource is comparable to the forbidden treasure level. So many resources are probably more than the treasure house of the Black Wind Mountain, and this is only the resource share of a Holy Son of War sect once. Although the Holy Sun only receives a share in 100 million years, so many resources are still shocking. Afterwards, Yi Tian also received a piece of private territory that belonged to him. Originally, as a Holy Son, he should have many vassals, and Chen Huang also planned to recruit a group of vassals for Yi Tian, but he refused. If he really wants to choose a vassal, he will also find those half-step ancestors who have reached the ancient world from Xuanshu. Yi Tian's private territory is a sacred mountain, standing in the void, surrounded by powerful restrictions. No one can enter except Yi Tian. If you practice here, you won't be disturbed. Moreover, there is a Tower of Time in the God Mountain territory, which can speed up time by 1 million times, and in the ancient world, it would be too difficult to cultivate in 1 million times the time. But here, it seems to be the same as regular acceleration time. Yi Tian entered the sacred mountain and began to integrate the countless forbidden talents he copied before. However, just by integrating few forbidden talents, the ancestors of the Blood Gang domain sent the inheritance of the Black Primordial Holy Body and the Forbidden Holy Body. Yi Tian did not immediately cultivate the Black Origin Saint Body and Forbidden Heaven Saint Body, but continued to integrate the countless forbidden talents. This time, he copied too many forbidden talents. After a long time, Yi Tian merged so many taboo talents. Then, he began to fuse a forbidden talent, basically according to the attributes. Under such a fusion, Yi Tian's taboo talent is getting stronger and stronger, far exceeding the general taboo talent. Among these taboo talents, the speed class has the most taboo talents, and after integrating a large number of speed class taboo talents, Li Dahao, his taboo talents finally changed, resulting in a qualitative change. Boom! Yi Tian's forbidden talent has transformed for the better. In the Tower of Time, an unknown amount of time passed. Yi Tian gave birth to a new talent. Open black lens bracket holy endowment, streamer close black lens bracket. Quote. Saint Fu, what kind of talent is this? Yi Tian wondered. He has never heard of any holy gift, and even in the War Realm Tower for so long, he has not detected any holy gift. But one thing is certain, the level of holy talent is probably beyond the forbidden talent, because it is transformed from the fusion of countless forbidden talents. Subsequently, Yi Tian came to the battle hall and applied to enter the book collection pavilion of the battle hall to check the information. He wanted to find the records about the sacred endowment. He didn't ask anyone, otherwise he was worried that his holy gifts would be exposed, and if something bad happened, it would be bad. Chapter 1297 Start cultivating the Black Primordial Body. In the battle domain, the book collection pavilion in the battle hall is naturally far inferior to the book collection pavilion in the war gate. But Yi Qingtian couldn't go to the war gate, so he could only check it here. The book collection pavilion of the battle hall contains a lot of books, and many books still need the points of the war gate, and Yi Tian, as a Holy Son, naturally has some points, but most of the books are still open to him, the Holy Son, for free. Yi Tian is constantly searching, especially looking for the classics of talent. It has to be said that the Dark Sanctuary's research on talent is very thorough, far beyond the imagination of the ancient world. In the Xuanxu to the ancient world, it is necessary to pay a certain price for the birth of super god level talent, and it can only be done by using treasures that can increase talent. However, the Dark Sanctuary had a special secret technique that directly increased his talent and promoted him to the super god level. Of course, this kind of secret technique is also very precious, and it can enhance up to 3 super god level talents. But even so, this is very evil. For example, Yi Tian valued a secret technique, the golden illusion technique. This secret technique could allow one person to give birth to 3 kinds of super god level talents, and it could also improve some soul potential and foundation. This secret technique has the best effect on humanoid beings, and the only flaw is that it is very painful. Cultivating this kind of secret technique is to temper and destroy the soul again and again, and only those with firm will can practice it. But once such a secret technique spreads among the human race will inevitably give birth to a large number of geniuses. It can be said that in the Xuanxu to the ancient world, such a secret technique is more precious than the most forbidden treasures, and belongs to the top inheritance. 100 points, not much. Yi Tian's initial points as a holy son was 1000 points, so he easily exchanged this secret technique inheritance and brought it back as the supreme secret technique of the human race in the future. Subsequently, Yi Tian continued to search for books on talent, and finally found a book that recorded holy blessings. In the classics that recorded the Holy Fu, there were only a few sentences about the Holy Fu. According to the above, Holy Gift is a supreme talent that surpasses taboo talents. At present, there is no way to give it with treasures, it can only be born by birth, and ordinary creatures cannot be born with Holy Gift at all. Only the children born by the ancestors of the Supreme Territory have a very small chance of giving birth to the children of Saint Fu. But it is also very difficult for the ancestors of the Supreme Domain to have a child, and it is hoped that one will be born after long years of hard work. Therefore, the sacred gift is almost a legend in the Dark Sanctuary. Even if there is a sacred gift, people will not say it. Therefore, this book does not mention much knowledge of the Holy Endowment. But what are the benefits of Holy Endowment? But there is a sentence mentioned above. Holy Endowment owners can practice holy skills. The Holy Technique is a secret technique that is even more terrifying than the Domain Technique. It is difficult for even the strongest Domain ancestor to practice a holy technique, let alone cultivate it to a higher realm. For example, Yi Tian has such a holy gift, he can practice holy skills now. Yi Tian wanted to look for the inheritance of holy skills here, but he couldn't find it. Obviously, the inheritance of holy skills is very precious, and there must be no such thing here. Yi Tian didn't want to use holy skills at the moment, but went back and continued to integrate other taboo talents. Not long after, he merged into a holy gift again. Holy Fu, Golden Body. This is a defensive gift. In the following days, Yi Tian's holy blessings were born one by one. Some types of taboo talents are not enough to transform, so he went to an independent space to copy the taboo talents of other half-step ancestors. Even if there are few taboo talents, there are too many half-step ancestors here, so he also copied many taboo talents. In a blink of an eye, 100 years have passed. In the past 100 years, he has visited most of the independent spaces, and only a few independent spaces that he is not allowed to enter, he has not entered. And in the past 100 years, the ancestors of the half-step domain have come and gone, and it is conceivable how many taboo talents he has copied. Thus, CJFI, he gave birth to many Holy Fu. Holy Endowment, Dominance. Open black lens bracket Holy Fu, True Fire close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Holy Fu, Bingling close black lens bracket. Holy Endowment, Aurora. Holy Endowment, Rock Thorn. More than a dozen kinds of holy gifts gathered on Yi Tian's body, one can imagine how terrifying this is. After merging into more than 10 kinds of holy talents, Yi Tian has not continued to copy taboo talents for the time being. If he encounters new copy talents, it doesn't matter if he copies. But now, he still wants to practice Heian Holy Body and Forbidden Holy Body. He did not practice in the Zhanji Tower. After all, this is a sacred object controlled by Zanmen. Who knows if it will be spied on? Fusion talent is carried out in the soul, it is impossible to detect, and the ability to replicate the body is easy to spy on. So, Yi Tian left the Zhanji Tower and returned to the outside world. When Yi Tian returned to the outside world, he found that the Forbidden Void Realm where the projection tower of the War Realm Tower was located was already very lively. It has been transformed into a prosperous void realm by major forces, and there are even countless cities and buildings. Yi Tian returned to the human world, and then placed the secret technique of golden illusion in the temple of the human race. In the future, all geniuses of the human race can practice this secret technique, but he has set restrictions. If you want to practice this secret technique, you must make a soul oath to ensure that it will not be leaked before you can practice this secret technique. As for the promotion of the whole clan, there is no need, because the threshold of this secret art practice is relatively high, and it is very painful. If you let ordinary people practice, they can't practice at all. Forced cultivation is not a good thing either. Therefore, this secret technique is only aimed at the geniuses of the human race, making them promoted from ordinary geniuses to top geniuses. Subsequently, Yi Tian began to retreat and practice the Black Primordial Sacred Body and Forbidden Heaven Sacred Body. The cultivation of these two holy bodies is also very difficult, and it is not weaker than the holy body of the primordial body. Once the cultivation fails, it will completely fall. Yi Tian copied his own body, then entered the dark forbidden area, and began to practice the Black Primordial Sacred Body. Days passed, and once the cultivation failed, he would enter the time formation, spend 10,000 years as quickly as possible, then duplicate a body and continue to cultivate the Black Essence Saint body. In this way, tens of thousands of years have passed. I don't know how many failures I have experienced, and finally on this day, Yi Tian finally practiced the Black Origin Sacred Body. Of course, this is just a copy of the body to practice the Black Origin Sacred Body. It is the first time that he has practiced it. He also needs to improve the success rate to ensure that nothing goes wrong. So, Yi Tian dispersed and copied his body and continued to practice again. Fail, succeed again. In this way, Yi Tian continued to practice, so that Yi Tian had a better understanding of the Black Origin Sacred Body, and finally completely guaranteed the success rate. After it was unlikely to fail, Yi Tian's body entered the Dark Forbidden Area and was ready to practice the Black Origin Sacred Body. Chapter 1298 The Eternal and Immortal Eucharist, Practice It. Dark Forbidden Area. Yi Tian started to practice Heiyuan Holy Body, and soon after, Heiyuan Holy Body was completed. When the Black Yuan Saint Physique was completed, Yi Tian's fleshly body became even stronger. However, the Heiyuan Holy Body and the Hunyuan Holy Body did not cause transformation, obviously lacking the Forbidden Holy Body. There is no way to transform into the eternal, indestructible Holy Body. So, Yi Tian continued to copy the body and let the copied body begin to cultivate the Forbidden Holy Body. In this way, tens of thousands of years passed before Yi Tian practiced the Forbidden Holy Body, which was exactly the same as the previous practice routine. This day, after Yi Tian made sure that he could 100% practice the Forbidden Holy Body, his body came to the Dark Forbidden Realm and practiced the Forbidden Holy Body. It didn't take long for the Forbidden Holy Body to be practiced. And just after the Forbidden Heaven Holy Body was completed, the three holy bodies were activated independently and then began to merge. Eucharistic transformation. Boom. Countless dark forbidden power poured into Yi Tian's body from the dark forbidden area, acting as the energy of his transformation. However, the power of darkness and taboos around was not enough to satisfy Yi Tian's transformation. Therefore, Yi Tian took out some of the many resources he had obtained from the war sect, and crushed them into pure energy, which was absorbed by the holy body. Time passed little by little, and Yi Tian's transformation continued. Century. Millennium. It was not until the 3000th year that Yi Tian's transformation was finally completed. This day, Yi Tian opened his eyes, his body exuded an immortal aura, and when he walked into the dark forbidden area, a wisp of aura seemed to crush the eternity. He is so powerful now. Eternal and immortal, above all. He has already practiced the eternal and indestructible holy body. Once he activates this kind of holy body, his strength will be greatly improved. Moreover, his current eternal and indestructible holy body is only equivalent to the entry level, because the other two saint body levels are too low, resulting in the fusion of the eternal and indestructible holy body is only at the entry level. But even at the entry level, the eternal and indestructible sacred body also smashes the primordial sacred body, not to mention other sacred body. This is the power of the first Eucharist of the Dark Sanctuary. Of course, it is naturally very difficult to upgrade such a holy body, but Zonman promises to raise his holy body to the realm of great achievement, and he does not need to spend any resources on the holy body. My current combat power is definitely entering the 7th level return to the first realm in the half-step ancestors combat power. Once I use the power of the extreme way, I am afraid that I will be able to directly compete with the 8th level return to the first half-step ancestors combat power. If I master a sacred skills or multiple sacred skills, the strength is afraid to be able to compete with the ancestors of the 9-fold return to one realm and half-step domain. Yi Tian muttered. This day, Yi Tian entered the Zanji Tower again, contacted the high levels of the Zanmen through the Zanmen's battle hall, and announced that he had practiced the eternal and indestructible holy body. Soon the news was learned by the senior officials of Zanmen, and immediately, the ancestor of the blood gangster came to the Zanji Tower again. Battlefield. The ancestor of the blood gang land came and found Yi Tian. Myriad Dharma Patriarch, have you really practiced the eternal and indestructible sacred body? The ancestors of the blood gang territory were a little unbelievable. Although he thinks that Yi Tian has a chance to become the eternal and indestructible holy body, how long has it been since then? I have just obtained the inheritance of the Heiyuan holy body and the forbidden holy body inheritance. Shouldn't I carefully comprehend countless years, and then try to cultivate after I have enough confidence? It's too dangerous to cultivate so quickly. Unexpectedly, in less than 100,000 years, Yi Tian announced that he had practiced the eternal and indestructible holy body. How could he not be shocked? Ancestor of the blood gang territory, I really practiced the eternal and indestructible holy body. Having said that, Yi Tian showed the eternal and indestructible holy body. Boom! The aura of the eternal and inextinguishable Eucharist erupted, and the mighty Eucharist was too oppressive. Although this coercion is nothing to the ancestors of the blood gang territory, but he can see that this is indeed the eternal and indestructible holy body. Unexpectedly, you really practiced it. The ancestor of the blood gang territory was shocked. Ancestor of the blood gang, Zanman promised to provide me with the resources to cultivate the holy body to the realm of the great accomplishment. Shouldn't I go back on it? Yi Tian asked. After all, the difference between the great completion of the primordial sacred body and the great completion of the eternal and indestructible sacred body is more than 10 times, or even 100 times. Ask for flowers. Of course it's fine, the ancestor of the blood gangland smiled. Let alone let Yi Tian cultivate the eternal and indestructible sacred body to the great completion realm. Even if Yi Tian cultivates the eternal and indestructible sacred body to the perfection realm, War Sect can easily afford it. The background of the War Gate can far exceed Yi Tian's imagination, and naturally it is not lacking in such a small amount of resources. Myriad Fa Daozu, remember that the eternal and indestructible holy body should not be used easily, especially in the War Realm Tower. Once you cast the eternal and indestructible holy body, I am worried that someone will be against you. You must be clear, the 10 major there is a competitive relationship between the Holy Gate and even many holy bodies. I don't know how many holy sons have fallen silently, and it is even difficult to investigate who killed it. Falling in the dark forbidden area, many times there is no way. It's deduced, so be careful. Blood Gang Yuzu reminded. I see. Yi Tian nodded. Suddenly, Yi Tian said again, Ancestor of the Blood Gang, I want to know that there is a sacred skill inheritance in the battle gate. Holy skills, why, do you want to practice holy skills? The ancestor of the Blood Gangland was surprised. Yes, I am very interested in holy skills and want to practice a holy skill. 1. Yi Tian said, the inheritance of sacred skills is very precious, and the difficulty of cultivation is beyond your imagination. Even if the ancestors of the supreme domain have cultivated for a long time, they may not be able to successfully cultivate a sacred skill. In the Dark Sanctuary, the creatures below the ancestors of the supreme domain, there is almost no way to get started with the cultivation of holy skills, unless it is a monster with holy gifts. But the monsters with holy gifts are almost all the descendants of those supreme ancestors, so naturally there is no shortage of holy skills. The Blood Gang ancestor said. The ancestor of the Blood Gang domain, even so, I still want to give it a try. I don't know how to qualify for a holy skill inheritance. Yi Tian insisted. This. Blood Gang Yuzu hesitated for a while, then said, if other people, even top domain ancestors ask for the inheritance of holy skills, I will directly refuse. But after all, you have the eternal and indestructible holy body, I can report your request. As for whether the War Gate will agree to teach you holy skills, I can't guarantee it. After all, I am only one of the high-level people, and I can't represent all the high-level people. Thank you so much for the ancestors of the Blood Gang territory. Yi Tian is grateful to Daoji. Chapter 1299 Golden Thread Holy Skill Completion, Holy Body Completion. The ancestor of the Blood Gang territory left and reported Yi Tian's situation to the War Gate. And Yi Tian is quietly waiting for the news. A year has passed, and the ancestors of the Blood Gangland finally came again. Wanfa Daozu, other high-level officials of the War Gate have also agreed to your application after discussion. They can give you a holy skill, but you must promise not to teach the holy skill to others. After all, the inheritance of holy skills is one of the foundations of the Holy Gate. Do you know that many of the most powerful ancestors of the Dark Sanctuary do not have the inheritance of holy skills, and even for the inheritance of a holy skill, they are willing to fight with other supreme ancestors? The Blood Gang ancestor said. I promise, Yi Tian said quickly. Afterwards, Blood Gang asked Yi Tian to choose a holy skill to inherit. This time, the ancestor of the Blood Gang domain brought 6 sacred skills inheritance, and Yi Tian could only choose one. The manufacturing cost of sacred skill inheritance is relatively high. It is necessary to cultivate sacred skill, May 13th, to the realm of Dacheng, and it requires special treasures to create inheritance. Therefore, the value of every sacred skill inheritance is unimaginable. And once it is used once, other people can't continue to inherit it, unless they continue to create the same inheritance, but some holy skill inheritances are solitary inheritances, which means that there is no way to continue to create them, because the person who cultivated to the Dacheng realm has fallen. No one can continue to cultivate this inheritance to the realm of Dacheng, so there is no way to continue to create inheritance. The Blood Gang ancestors brought naturally not the solitary inheritance, otherwise Zonman would not agree. 6 inheritances, choose one. The ancestral way of the Blood Gang territory. Yi Tian looked at these 6 inheritances, and finally chose one of the sacred skills inheritance. This holy skill is called Golden Thread. The Golden Thread holy skill is a pure attack type holy skill. It is very powerful, and its attribute is the taboo attribute of gold. Only those who possess the holy gift of gold can easily practice the Golden Thread holy skill. There are also these Eucharistic fruits, which are the most suitable aids for Eucharistic cultivation. Before the eternal and immortal Eucharist is completed, the Eucharistic fruits are useful. This time, Zonman gave you 100,000 Eucharistic fruits, enough for you to practice for a long time. Ancestor of Blood Gang, you took out the holy body fruit and said. Many thanks to the ancestors of the Blood Gang territory. Yi Tian said quickly, cultivation well, I will wait for you to step into the ranks of the ancestors of the strongest domain and enter the war gate. The Blood Gang domain ancestor smiled slightly, then turned and left. After the ancestors of the Blood Gang domain left, Yi Tian also left the Battle World Pagoda. After becoming the son of War Gate, the War Realm Tower is almost useless to him, and he doesn't need to work hard for points, and he doesn't need to compare his strength with other people. Those people's strength is too weak, and there is no battle at all, experience. It is precisely because of this that the real evildoers in the Dark Sanctuary will not go to the War Realm Tower at all. But for the other half-step ancestors from Xuanshu to the ancient world, the Zhanji Tower is a place of unparalleled opportunity, and any exchange of inheritance can greatly increase their strength. And if they make friends with the ancestors of the half-step domain, and a little bit of information, it will be of great benefit to them. Therefore, they are eager to enter the War Realm Tower and constantly exchange ideas with other half-step ancestors. Yi Tian returned to the ancient world, the human world. After he came back, he began to practice the holy technique Golden Thread. At the same time, he also began to take the Eucharist fruit to temper his eternal and immortal Eucharist. I have to say that the holy body fruit has a very good effect on the tempering of the eternal and inextinguishable holy body. If you rely on your own cultivation, if you want to cultivate the eternal and indestructible holy body to the realm of greatness, then I don't know how many years it will take. With the Eucharistic fruit, Yi Tian felt that it would take him 100,000 years to cultivate the eternal and indestructible holy body to the realm of minor accomplishment, and 3 million years to cultivate to the realm of great accomplishment. Of course, the premise is to take the Eucharist fruit continuously, which will cost countless Eucharistic fruit. If there is no resource support from Zonman, he will definitely not be able to do it. In a blink of an eye, 100 years have passed. This day, Yi Tian finally practiced the Golden Thread holy skill. Of course, he practiced it in the great formation of time, so the time spent was naturally far more than 100 years. But to other people, this time is nothing at all, but Yi Tian has practiced a holy skill. In the dark forbidden area, Yi Tian came here to test the golden silk holy technique, and saw that he was facing a dark taboo void in front of him, and with a casual stroke, a golden silk thread slid across the void in front of him. Tear it up. The taboo void in front of him was cut open like a piece of cloth. It's a terrifying power, tearing the taboo void at will. Such a power is afraid to easily kill a half-step ancestor of the 6th level return to the first realm. Yi Tian muttered, and this is just the beginning of the holy technique. Once Yi Tian cultivates this holy technique to the realm of minor achievement, the power will be extremely terrifying, and his strength will also increase to a very terrifying level. Next, Yi Tian went back to retreat to practice and continued to practice holy skills. And just like that, another 1,000 years have passed. After 10,000 years, Yi Tian finally cultivated the golden thread sacred technique to the realm of small achievement, which was unbelievable to the supreme power domain ancestor, but it seemed very simple to Yi Tian. That's the power of the Holy Spirit. However, Yi Tian couldn't use the gold thread saint skill of the minor level too many times. One time was enough to consume 1/10 of his strength, so he could only use it occasionally during the battle. Otherwise, if he used it continuously, his power would be lost. Exhausted, the enemy is not dead, he is the one who died. After Yi Tian's test, the gold thread saint skill of the minor level can be regarded as a full-strength attack from the top 8 level normalization half-step ancestor. If in the future, Yi Tian cultivates the eternal and indestructible holy body to the realm of minor achievement, and cooperates with the golden thread holy skill of the minor achievement level, the combat power that erupts will be even more terrifying. Moreover, he has not yet exerted the power of the extreme way. If he exerted the power of the extreme way, Yi Tian is now afraid that he would dare to kill the top 8 level return to the first half-step domain ancestor. After Jin 5.8 Silk Holy Skill has been cultivated to the realm of minor achievement, the speed of cultivation has slowed down. I am afraid that it will take a long time to cultivate to the realm of major achievement. So, Yi Tian devoted his mind to the eternal and indestructible holy body. After a full man-month, the inextinguishable Eucharist arrives in winter cultivation. 20. And at this time, Yi Tian's comprehensive power is afraid to be comparable to the half-step domain ancestor of the 9-level return to one realm. And what is the concept of the half-step domain ancestor of the 9-fold return to one realm? In the Dark Sanctuary, some of the weaker new Jinyu ancestors are only half-step ancestors of the 9-level return to one realm. If it is replaced by the half-step domain ancestors in the realm, some new Jin domain ancestors are afraid that they only have the top 8 level half-step domain ancestors, and they are not even as good as Yi Tian's current combat power. That is to say, Yi Tian is now enough to compete or even defeat the new Jinyu ancestors in the Daoshan realm and the Shenshin realm. Chapter 1300 Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor, Breakthrough Domain Ancestor. When Yi Tian's strength skyrocketed, a civil war broke out in the devouring world. Emperor Shuangtian had a falling out with the 4 great emperors, Beilu Emperor, Shenshui Emperor, Zan Emperor and Wanjun Emperor, and even confronted each other. Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor, are you crazy? You are going to devour our devouring world. Emperor Beilu roared angrily, why not? Devouring the world is also a world. Once I swallow it, I can be promoted to the ancestor of the domain. At that time, it will be easy to destroy the mysterious world to the ancient world. At that time, I will only swallow the origin of the mysterious world to the ancient world, and some other taboo voids. How about swallowing all the world for you? Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor suggested. No, Beilu Emperor Ancestor said coldly. The devouring world is our home and the most important world for our family to swallow. It must not be swallowed. You are indeed a lunatic, and you should not have been released in the first place. Ha ha ha, shouldn't you let me out? If it wasn't for me, the 4 of you would be dead now. 29. Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor said with contempt. Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor, do you really want to devour the devouring world? You are doing this because you are an enemy of our entire devouring clan. Can you stand against all of our devouring clan? Beilu Emperor Ancestor threatened. 4 spicy chickens, just because you want to stop me. As for the other devouring clans, they are all ants. Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor looked disdainful, and didn't even put other devours in his eyes. Immediately, he ignored it and entered the source of the devouring world, ready to devour the source. At this time, the 4 great emperors, Beilu Emperor, Zan Emperor, Shenshui and Wanjun Emperor joined forces to fight against Shuangtian Emperor. The war has begun. How powerful is the Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor? The other 4 Emperor Ancestors are too weak, they have almost no powerful means. Even if the 4 join forces, they are completely unable to resist the Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor. Of course, their 4 ancestors still have the secret treasures left by the ancestors of the domain. Once they are activated, they can explode with powerful combat power, so they suppress the Emperor Shuangtian for a while. Boom! The battle between the 2 sides made the devouring world tremble constantly, but as time passed, the Frost Heaven Emperor Ancestors' fighting power was still strong, and the effect of the secret treasure of the 4 great Emperor Ancestors was completely maintained. Do you 4 think that you can kill me by relying on the secret treasures bestowed by the ancestors? Haha, don't you know that I created a forbidden Taoist technique that can be swallowed and indestructible, even if it is a trick from the ancestors? Don't try to kill me, the 4 of you won't kill me even if you have secret treasures. Once you run out of secret treasures, you will be the ones who will die. Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor coldly threatened. Beilu Emperor Ancestor and the others looked extremely solemn. Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor was right. Once their secret treasure was useless, they would have no way to fight against Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor. With the strength of Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor, I am afraid that they can be easily defeated. As time passed, the power of the secret treasure became weaker and weaker. In fact, the secret treasure is the source stored by the ancestors of the domain, and the source of the devouring family is very close, so they can completely use the source of the ancestors. But if it is a cultivator, there is no way to use such a secret treasure. But such a treasure also has limitations. Once the source is exhausted, the treasure will be useless. Back then, Beilu Emperor Ancestor had already spent a secret treasure in order to block Function Mountain Master, and the secret treasure used now is not as good as the last one. Click. The secret treasure of Wanjun Emperor Ancestor has exhausted the source energy and is completely useless. Roll. Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor condensed a forbidden spear. A spear nailed the Wanjun Emperor Ancestor not far away in the void, and a blow hit him hard. Next up is 3-on-1. But soon, Zan Emperor Ancestor's secret treasure also exhausted its source energy, and was hit hard by Frost Heaven Emperor Ancestor. At this moment, Beilu Emperor Ancestor knew that the solution could not be changed, and immediately said, Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor, we won't stop you, let's stop. Then go away, Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor said coldly. Whoa. The 4 great Emperor Ancestors left, and the other devouring clan of the Devouring Realm also left the Devouring Realm one by one, leaving the Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor to devour the origin of the Devouring Realm. As time passed, the source of the Devouring World became less and less, the breath of the Devouring World became weaker and weaker, and a large number of spatial cracks appeared in the whole world, as if the world was about to shatter. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. In the 10th year, the devouring world was finally swallowed up by the Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor. At the same time, Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor's breath swelled to a very terrifying level. Crack! Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor's body shattered and began to reunite to form a domain body, and the swallowing power on his body also began to transform into the swallowing power of the domain ancestor level. Everything is changing. I don't know how long it has passed, and the transformation of the Emperor Shuangtian has been completed. Since he is a breakthrough of the Devourer clan this time, not a breakthrough of cultivation, the increase in strength after the breakthrough is exaggerated, only the weaker new Jinyu ancestors are stronger, far less than most of the new Jinyu practitioners. Ancestor. This is also the limitation of being a devouring clan. But if he is allowed to devour a world like Xuanxu to the ancient world, his strength can be greatly improved. Therefore, as long as the world is swallowed up by him, his strength will continue to improve, and after the practitioner enters the domain ancestor, it will take a long year to 513 months. Congratulations to the Shuangtian Holy Ancestor. Congratulations to the Shuangtian Holy Ancestor. 1. Congratulations to the Shuangtian Holy Ancestor. Beilu Emperor Ancestor and other devouring clan hurriedly congratulated him. Humph. Emperor Shuangtian snorted coldly and stared at Emperor Beilu and the others, but he did not kill them. Once these devours are killed, he will be the only one left in the future, so it doesn't make much sense, keeping them as his little brothers, otherwise it would be too boring. Go, let's invade Xuanxu to the ancient world. Shuangtian Emperor Ancestor ordered. Yes, many devours responded one by one. Shish. All the devouring clan were dispatched and followed the Emperor Shuangtian to Xuanxu to the ancient realm. However, they don't even know how powerful Yi Tian is now, otherwise how dare they invade the Xuanxu to the ancient world. It didn't take long for them to reach the Xuanxu to the ancient world. The first time, the ancestors of the half-step domain from Xuanxu to the ancient world knew that the devouring clan had arrived. And someone notified Yi Tian as quickly as possible. Human world, Yi Tian is retreating to comprehend the golden thread holy technique. Seeing that someone is calling him, and the human race is also calling him, he knows that something must have happened to the outside world. So, he went out. Gee,